Guess who's black? Black Widow. Widow's back. Black Widow. Guess who's black? Guess who's black?
Cutting you off. People thought I was a bad one when we did it for Black Adam.
Black Widow. Ooh. And it's now a woman. Luke's not feeling very well. We were trying to think up of the intro just then. I was thinking, do I do the sort of Avengers music that ends with a no?
Oh, kasplat.
For the kasplat bit in Endgame, and then I had a twinkle in my eye,
and
you immediately went, no, don't do that one. And then I said, let's go for it. And now we're here.
Welcome to Cutscene's worst movie ever. Thank you so much for checking out this episode. Please do check out the other episodes that we have done, because we're here today to talk about Black Widow. We're returning to the MCU after our 1 month break to go woohoo into the world of Super Mario Brothers.
Now I'm thinking about it. Is black one of the most used words in superhero movie titles?
No, man is.
Man. But man's usually part of a larger word. Spider-Man, it's got the hyphen. Yeah. Superman, that's just one word.
Batman.
Black Adam.
Wonder Woman.
Black Adam, Black Widow, Black Panther.
That's 3.
Yeah.
Have you got another?
No, but that's quite a lot. There's only so much. That's like 7% of all superhero movies.
Captain Marvel, Captain America.
Captain's pretty used as a rank.
Yeah, it certainly is. Yeah. No, you don't get a lot of lieutenant heroes.
It's quite difficult to spell.
I can't do it. Lieutenant Firepower.
Well, if it was up to what's his name, the producer, that Sergeant Rock movie's coming.
But anyway, we're here to talk about Black Widow. We are back within the MCU, and you might be asking yourself, why on earth are you doing Black Widow as part of worst movie ever? Because people said that about Thor: The Dark World. They've said it about Age of Ultron. They have actually even said about Iron Man 2. I think they'll definitely be saying it here, and I can answer you, it's one reason, and one reason alone. You think that Ray Winstone has a funny voice.
All right, comrades. The movie is actually pretty good for the middle hour. It's not really good. It's pretty good for the middle hour. And then Ray Winstone shows up, Dreykov, who's been built up as this mysterious behind-the-scenes puppeteer. I don't think you hear him speak at all, really.
Right up until the end, yeah.
And then he opens his mouth. And it's Ray Winstone. He's very threatening on screen, but not with that voice that teeters between Russian and, all right, governor.
And I would also say a little bit of Tony Soprano.
Yes.
There's a little bit of that.
Fire breathing.
So I watched the finale of this movie last night while my wife was working. She was working late into the evening, and she was sat next to me. And she just sort of looked up from her laptop at one point and said, it's not a flawless accent he's doing, is it? And it was just after he said, my secret weapon. Girls.
Girls. Well, I have got the timestamp for Girls to do in the play-by-play review portion of this. Girls is such a, like I speak, I would say most Americans would go, you haven't got an accent, a regional accent, neither of you really. You betray your Scouse, your alleged Scouse origins sometimes.
I had it bullied out of me at school, and now I have this voice instead.
But if you're English, you will definitely hear me slip into the occasional Kent. So I'm from Kent, which is a county. You've got Essex, which is just above it. And it's all sort of tied because it's very inner Kent. It's effectively southeast London, East London. Yeah. That's all that. So we all share a similar dialect, sort of from Cockneyism, really. And Ray Winstone is born in Homerton. I looked into this, which is down the road from this studio. That's our local hospital. That's where we go to the cinema for the castle. So Ray Winstone was born there, so pretty close. But one of the words, well, there's a few words that just betray anyone, no matter how much enunciation training they've had, and that's water, computer, so we drop the T's, and girls.
My daughter was born in Kent, because that is where we moved to when we moved out of London during the pandemic, so she's born within Kent, and that was the moment I realised the accent she was going to have when she said, I'm a little girl.
I'm a girl.
And she says, toy.
Toy.
As another one. And boy.
Yeah, so Ray Winstone, true red-blooded communist in this film. He is Soviet. He is a massive Soviet villain, and his accent is all over the place.
I have got a theory on Ray Winstone within this, which I will save for when we get to Ray Winstone's thoughts on the filming of Black Widow.
Well, so there's... You're right. A lot of people are going to be like, worst movie ever, Black Widow, really? And let's be honest, when we look at the chart, it's going to end up either at number 17 or 16.
Yeah, I think it's better than Age of Ultron.
Yeah. So, and that's purely really down to Yelena and your friend of mine, David Harbour.
He was right all along.
Well, he
misunderstood genius, David Harbour.
Is it a red room? Is it a pussy palace? We won't know. There's two sides to every story. And I was watching it.
He just didn't get an album out first.
I was watching it, and my partner said, "Oh, why are you watching this one?" Like, she said, "Is it really bad?" Because she's not seen this one, which is a really interesting reason, an argument as to why it's on here. A lot of people just skip this one.
Yes, we'll get onto that later as well.
And she said, "How is it?" And I said, "Oh, it's a 3-star film."
Yeah, so here is my big hot take on this movie, my scorching hot take as we get into our thoughts on this film. When I watched this in 2021, I didn't get it on the premium access thing. I waited until it was just available on Disney Plus. I wasn't that amped.
I went to the cinema.
You did indeed, yeah. I just had a kid, so we were just like at home, but I wasn't going to pay an extra 30 quid or whatever it was to watch this. So I waited until it was just on Disney Plus, and me and my wife watched it. And at the end of it, I was like 2.5 stars. I have since upgraded it to 3.5 stars.
Oh, 3.5. Wow, that's a whole star. Is that because of Thunderbolts?
I actually watched this, and about like every half an hour or so, I kept writing the timestamp being like, still good. Still a really good film. I really, really enjoyed this for the most part. I just think that the final 20 minutes aren't great when you get really into reshoot season and it's bad green screen. And then I think the actual like finale where all the widows come down in that plane, I'm like, this film really feels like it's lost its way a little bit.
Yeah.
That's what kind of lost it that half star. But up until that point, I was like, oh, dang, this is way better than I remember it being.
I think you've gone on the opposite trajectory for me. I think 2021, when it's released, that 2020 period, 2021, I was just there to love anything I could. So actually, I was like, oh, yeah, the decent movie. Can't wait for the next one. And over time, I've gone, oh. And this is actually why this is one of the more infuriating things. I've probably got more thoughts about this movie as a entry in the MCU rather than any of the others. Iron Man 2, it is what it is. Avengers Age of Ultron, whatever. Black Widow. It's on my list for worst movie ever, not because in isolation, it's just a fine 3-star action movie with some funny characters in and actually does arguably redeem itself with that we get Thunderbolts later on. It's because this is the first real movie of Phase 4. And I have been watching all of the MCU in order. I watched Endgame on Monday. And I watched Black Widow on Wednesday. Yes, I know, I sort of jumped Spider-Man Far From Home. But that does really deal with the Endgame after effects.
Yes.
This is Peter Parker living in a world without Tony Stark, and everyone's come back from the blip. I think they handle Peter Parker growing actually pretty well, while the movie itself is probably 3.5 stars.
I think it's all right. I quite enjoyed it.
It's a decent postscript to Endgame.
Yes.
Like how Ant-Man was a decent postscript to Ultron.
Yeah.
This is the start of the whole new saga. And you start it with a character who died in Endgame. It's a movie that should have been released 5 years ago. And also, you do all this great work in Phase 3. Honestly, I cannot get across how much fun I've had watching Phase 3 again. It is just home run after home run. Unparalleled in film studio history, the level of quality they had across all of it. And as wrestling fans, it's not just the quality of the movie, it's you can see they're building the stars of tomorrow. This is long-term booking. Sure, you've got your Caps and your Tonys right now. That's your Undertakers, your Stone Colds, your Rocks. But hey, they're building the people who will be the next generation who could surpass it or just be different. You've got Falcon, you've got Winter Soldier, you've got Captain Marvel, you've got Doctor Strange, you've got Peter Parker, Spider-Man, you've got Black Panther. Of course, for various reasons, some of those didn't work out. Spider-Man, Sony awkwardness. Black Panther, of course, the tragedy of Chadwick Boseman. The Captain Marvel just didn't hit for me.
Yeah, well, I would also say for Marvel, so I don't want to sort of derail your point, but to back up your point, Brie Larson was such a polarizing figure within that movie because there was a certain subset of the audience who just decided we hate this movie because we hate her. They took a attitude towards her that my mum takes with just some women in pop culture.
Yeah,
if I was
Meghan Markle.
Meghan is the example I was about to give. Meghan Markle is my mum will just say, I just don't like her.
Yeah.
Have you got a reason why? I just don't like her.
Bad vibes.
Bad vibes. There are certain women on TV that my mum will just sit there as a boomer woman in her 70s or fold her arms and go, I just don't like her. And I think there are a certain subset of men in their teens and their 20s who looked at Brie Larson and was like, I just don't like her.
Yeah.
I just don't like her. And I've got no reason why. I just don't like her. And that is the reason. And then because of that, Brie Larson in interviews has said, like, I don't know, does anyone want me to come back as Captain Marvel? And in the MCU book, they write that after post-Endgame, Kevin Feige's whole plan was, I've got my new big three. It's Captain Marvel, it's Black Panther, and it's Spider-Man. And I've got an actor who probably doesn't want to do this anymore because she's been bullied out of the position. I've got an actor who's just passed away from being in that role, and another one who actually belongs to another studio. Really, my Phase 4 plans. And then that is one part of it. And then there's actually a new Thanos that's appeared in the form of Bob Chapek, who's about to screw up every single thing they want to do.
And that's why Black Widow's so interesting to me, because and I don't actually know about the production side. I'm really excited for you to tell me about all that stuff. But from a fantasy booking perspective, why did you start Phase 4 with this?
Well, okay, so this wasn't supposed to be the first movie of Phase 4.
This was meant to be a postscript to Phase 3?
No, it was going to be in Phase 4, but it wasn't supposed to be the first movie of Phase 4.
Okay, well, even then, why is this in Phase 4 and not in Phase 3?
I will come on to that, because that's going to be one of our big talking points of the production history, is everyone constantly asking Kevin Feige, where's the Black Widow solo movie? And him explaining why we haven't done it yet. He gives a reason. There's a much bigger reason, which we'll come on to a bit later on. But he has his reasons as to why this was not within Phase 3, when really it should have come out after Civil War.
So just to recap, my two main points of why this is a utter strategic failure for the MCU is it was released at the wrong time. Should have been between Civil War and Infinity War, which is when the events of the film are set. You know, when they show up in Infinity War and she's got a bleached hair and she's with Cap, I'm like, oh, it would have been fun to see some of those stories.
Yeah.
And this solves that. And the second thing is, make a better film.
I disagree with that, because I actually think this is a good film. I think it's better than Doctor Strange, which is in Phase 3.
You weirdly... Not weirdly, but you do not like Doctor Strange.
No, I do like Doctor Strange.
No, you've always said it's a fine 3-star movie.
It is a fine 3-star movie. I do like it, though.
I think it's better than that.
Well, I think this... me personally, I think this is better than Doctor Strange.
Oh, well.
Well, I think Doctor Strange is 3 stars.
Not on the list, though,
This is 3.5 stars. Well, yeah, this wasn't supposed to be on the list either, but you love Ray Winstone's voice in it so much that it's ended up on the list.
Sorry, you're right. That's my third point. Ray Winstone. Who I love. I love as an actor.
When we get to Phase 4... there's so much going on within Marvel. Obviously, we just talked about it's the end of Endgame. It's the end of the Infinity Saga. We are now going to start the brand new part of this. And our trilogy of characters that we were wanting to build a lot of this around, maybe that's not going to work. Coupled that with a change of management within Disney, who have now got a streaming platform that just needs content.
Gobbles it up.
I don't care if it is good. Give me content. Fill up the hours and fill up my databases and my hard drives so I can put this out there and make people subscribe to my streaming service. So we've got that, and I need you and Kathleen Kennedy to read, because I can't do it. I need you guys to make all of the content for me. So you've got that, and you've got a pandemic, which kind of screws things up a little bit, certainly for this movie, which we'll get into. And it's a PR nightmare for them because of, again, Chapek's decisions to release this against the contract of Scarlett Johansson. And that then creates a bad PR storm around this. And this film, unfortunately, I feel, sits within that sort of like latter part of my sort of lineup of things, which is people by this point were a bit done. They were so done with Endgame. Like, that was the peak. Everyone was like, that was the peak of cinema, and I loved it. And everything that came after that was like, it's not as good as Endgame. The feeling's not really there.
I disagree. I think you have an opportunity to restart. And you'll start from a higher position than when you started it all, phase 1, phase 2 maybe. But you will have to take a bit of a hit because you're building up these new characters. But Black Panther, it is what it is. But the building everything around Spider-Man was a real mistake.
Yeah, I cannot believe they... Well, I mean, in their defense, those films were making a lot of money. And
they should have had an ironclad
thing. And I think they thought, we'll have this a bit longer than we would have done.
It's very naive
I think
to not get something more concrete in writing. If they did. But, you talk about the top three, and those were the top three: Panther, Marvel, Parker. But, 3 Ps. But then you had a great supporting cast around them. You've still got...
What was the third P?
Panther. Marvel. That's not a P, is it? Silent P, like pterodactyl. But then you've got Falcon, Winter Soldier, Scarlet Witch. Is a great rising star within this. In Endgame, it's like her battle with Thanos is, this is fully formed, super-powered Scarlet Witch. I prefer Scarlet Witch over the Captain Marvel position, personally.
Well, then we got her in WandaVision, which was really good.
Yeah.
And then she becomes the baddie of Doctor Strange, and she gets killed off. Because a lot of these characters are kind of coming to the end of their contracts and are probably looking to not stay on forever within these roles. Phase 4 is the rebuilding phase. It is introducing Yelena. It is Shang-Chi. It's Miss Marvel. It is, in some ways, Moon Knight. It's Kate from Hawkeye. It's trying to introduce this whole new... But
for TV, not for movies.
Well, as part of, again, that's the Chapek problem. But I think a lot of that is people weren't buying it. People just wanted to see the shit that had come beforehand again, which is why we're now in a position where we're leading up towards Doomsday, where who are the big leading characters in that? It's Iron Man, it's Captain America, it's Thor, and it's the X-Men from the year 2000, 26 years ago.
They had the X-Men. It's a real strategic fantasy booking mistake. You have by this time, by the time that Phase 3 is wrapping up and you're planning Phase 4, you have the rights to the X-Men and the Fantastic Four.
Absolutely.
And that is when you should be sowing the seeds for the new castings of those characters. Why have we not got a Wolverine movie at the start of Phase 4? Or a Cyclops movie, or a Gambit movie finally with Channing Tatum? Why is that left to Deadpool? Why have we not got Fantastic Four just to kick off Phase 4? That makes sense. I didn't even realise. Phase 4, and then you turn the 4 into the Fantastic Four emblem.
Do you remember at the 2019 San Diego Comic-Con where Kevin Feige's on stage and he announces the lineup for Phase 4? And then at the end of it, just like as people are applauding and clapping on stage, it's like, and by the way, there's a Fantastic Four film, but we've got nothing to announce on that yet. We're going to make one. We're going to make an X-Men movie as well. I think that they should have been a much bigger part of this. I think they thought they had more time on their hands and more momentum off the back of Endgame. That could have rode this out, and they could have still remained really popular while they're like doing these teasers for X-Men and Fantastic Four. And unfortunately, what happens in 2020 and 2021 is we get a pandemic, we get Bob Chapek, and then panic. And now we are in panic mode.
Yeah. It's such a shame.
And a bunch of stuff that doesn't hit.
Yeah.
We'll get onto it later. This movie makes more money at the box office than The Marvels.
Mm-hmm.
This came out during the pandemic.
It's... Well, let's get into it. What are the reasons why they didn't do the better version? Because, look, you get Endgame, and then Far From Home comes out before the pandemic.
Yeah, it's in 2019.
2019. And then March 2020 is, of course, the pandemic.
Which is when this movie was supposed to come out. I think it's March or May, maybe.
And then you get nothing. And then, like, May 21 is when Black Widow comes out?
Yes, May 2021.
A bit later is Shang-Chi. That's the next one. Like, you had 2 years off. That's enough time. That's enough time to give people a break and come back with a banging new slate of top-tier characters. But they polluted it with Marvel Television.
Yes, which we'll get onto that bit when we get to it. But first, we need to cast our minds back to 2004 because Lionsgate announced a deal to produce a movie based on Iron Fist and a movie based on Black Widow. A deal done by your friend of mine, Avi Arad.
Yeah, he knows.
So
he could have fixed Phase 4.
So Lionsgate rather, had already produced The Punisher. Like Punisher was just about to come out for Lionsgate. So they were like, we're going to be the new studio to release some of these lower level characters. And they were announcing we're going to do Punisher 2 with Lionsgate and we're going to work on a Black Widow movie. But also, perhaps unsurprisingly, David Hayter is hired to be the screenwriter and director because he wrote X-Men 2. Ergo, any movie that's based on a comic book, he's usually the first person that writes a script.
And the voice of Solid Snake?
He penned a script in 2005. He would say in Tales from the Script, which is a very good book, she's a freelance mercenary and she's called back to where she was brought up to face her past. What I tried to do was use the backdrop of the splintered Soviet Empire, a lawless, insane asylum with 400-odd nuclear missile silos. It was all about loose nukes, and I felt it was very timely and very cool. If you want to read his draft, it is available online. It's dated December 11th, 2005. It's his 6th draft he did of it. It's fine. It's not great. It's a bit paint by numbers, I would say.
Well, that's probably what Lionsgate wanted. They're not looking to create high art or a huge commercial success. This is likely going to have a limited film cinema release and will make money on DVDs.
But the start of the script is she is an orphan and she is saved from a burning building by a chap named Ivan, who is a soldier for the Red Room, which is run by a chap named Sergei. And she undergoes LTA, ligature tensility augmentation. Basically, just makes her faster and stronger. This is how it is explained in the VO in the script. So she's like, you see her as being rescued as a child, and then she goes through her training in the Red Room, and then she's got this VO as an adult. Stepanovich, who's the doctor, grafted my ligament to high-tension synthetics to make me jump faster, increase the snap of my strikes, and I guess it did. But the thing it did most of all was open my eyes. And then, screen directions, crunchy rock and roll tears from the speakers.
Yeah.
You can
crunchy.
Absolutely picture it. Doesn't that sound like Daredevil?
Yeah.
The VO in Daredevil.
It's 2000. It was 2005
That's
for you.
2005 for you. When the Soviet Union falls apart, Sergei kills everyone, including Ivan, and Natasha runs to New York. She escapes in New York and basically stays there for 5 years, going undetected. Then she discovers there's a $10 million bounty on her head. So she goes back to Russia to take on Sergei and shut down the Red Room. In the process, learns that Ivan's been alive this whole time. He then dies 7 pages later. And she discovers the program is making little widows. And she frees them, destroys the Red Room, and she goes back to New York where the CIA offer her a job. Now, isn't a lot of this movie sound like that?
Yeah, but you're also running off established source material in the comic books. So if you're going to tell a Black Widow solo movie, that's probably the story you're going to tell.
And I think it's a fine idea. It's a fine script. It is a bit bland.
Yeah.
Sadly for Lionsgate, and this will be a problem that will come up later on in our production timeline as well, Ultraviolet and Aeon Flux came out around a similar time and underperformed, so studio heads decided women leading action movies doesn't sell. You can't make this movie anymore.
Yeah, I went to see both of those in the cinema because I was just a sci-fi guy, so I'd go see, regardless of gender, who was leading, who the main character was. But they weren't good. Like, they're very forgettable. I think I've weirdly seen Aeon Flux quite a few times. It's one of those films that were just always on Sky Cinema. Yeah. So I would just, it's on, and I'll pick it up 15 minutes in,
Yeah.
But yeah, they just weren't good films.
Yeah.
I wouldn't put that on the fact that it's a female-led one.
No, but that's what Hollywood's.
Yes, of course,
Unfortunately, studio producers and studio heads, this is what they have done since like time infinitum. Is there any time there? That's why the Wonder Woman movie took so long to get made as well. It's like, women leading action movies just doesn't sell, even though there are examples of them selling
Kill Bill.
And do working. Kill Bill, you can go back to Aliens, the Resident Evil franchise.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it only takes one to fail before a studio head be like, well, you see, I told you, these things do not work, and you have to try and go that extra mile to try and make them work again. I wrote an article years and years and years back, said that Marvel aren't afraid of a Black Widow movie. They're afraid of a female superhero film failing because what they're afraid is failure.
Yeah.
I think, for me personally, the reason why they don't release it in phase 3 is because they didn't think it was going to work. And they didn't think it was... If it failed, that's a black mark on the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And that then even just like emboldens the Ike Perlmutters and the Alan Horns to be like, don't do another one then.
I don't buy it by that point. Because, you're going to come... should I save my point for close to the timeline?
Yeah. We'll say that. We'll come back to that later. Hater told IGN, Marvel and I then spoke to a few other financing entities, but I never felt comfortable that we found a place that was willing to take the movie and the character seriously. I put it aside until a reputable studio comes along, but in the meantime, I'm heartbroken. I love this character. I love the story world we came out for her, and I sincerely hope the movie gets made someday.
I cannot imagine how... so many writers and directors work forever on things, and they fall in love with them. I believe Hader when he says that, because he spent time with these characters and developing them and writing them.
He was going to direct the film.
And then it just doesn't happen? The only thing I've seen through to completion fiction-wise has gone out. Imagine if it just didn't go. It's heartbreaking.
And the reason why? Oh, Aeon Flux didn't perform.
Yeah.
And that's the reason why you're not getting to make your movie now.
It's a tough business.
Yeah. In 2006, the rights reverted to Marvel Studios, and Black Widow made her debut in Iron Man 2, which we've covered here on this show. You can go check out our Iron Man 2 podcast, played by Scarlett Johansson, but was nearly Emily Blunt, which we covered within that episode.
And she, just characterization-wise, is a generic sex kitten femme fatale sort.
Yes. It probably isn't until Winter Soldier that she becomes a bit
Winter Soldier, the writing of her in that
and I bet in the Avengers, actually.
Phenomenal.
Because she's given some backstory in the Avengers. Like the red on her ledger, Budapest, that's all back referenced in this movie.
It's just, for me, that's just Whedon giving people things to say.
I disagree.
Look, okay, you're right. It's not one-dimensional, but it's two-dimensional.
Oh yeah, it's not like hugely fleshed out. The only reason I'm saying that is because like a lot of the stuff, the Budapest, I think Dreykov's daughter might be mentioned in the Avengers. It's in certainly one of those early movies. And the thank you for your cooperation. Like the scene she has with Loki.
Of course, yeah.
The interrogation scene with Loki is mirrored within this movie here.
Oh, I didn't pick up on that. You're totally right. Yeah.
So I think a lot of the Avengers kind of has influenced the character that she has within this film.
Oh, for sure. But I wouldn't look at Avengers and go, that's Black Widow.
Yeah.
It's Winter Soldier, where she goes from what is sort of a just supplementary character, probably just to tick some boxes, to this is a fully fleshed out, three-dimensional character I want to see and spend time with all the time. Love
that, like the first scene she really has with Cap, when they've just finished that mission with Batroc the Leaper, and then she's doing another mission, and Steve just walks in and is like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
And she's like, well, you're on your mission, Cap, and I'm on mine. He's like, we cannot be a team if we're not working towards the same thing.
Yeah, and she's complex.
And she's just like, to her, it's just like, well, that's what I'm here to do.
That's what I'm here to do. That's what I've always done. And then they're in the car, and there's they managed to do the sexy, flirty side of Black Widow without sexualizing her.
I don't know, tell that to Jeremy Renner.
It's almost like it's a defense mechanism, as opposed to what she's written as by Whedon and Ultron, which is, I need a romance plot, so you're the only woman on the team, so I guess you're shacking up with Banner.
Yeah. Oh, no, you can't have babies. What a monster.
Anyway, so Banner's like, so should we leave then? Let's not dive into that.
Oh, it actually makes me feel a bit uncomfortable talking about it, so let's move on to something else.
All those character points you said that were set up by Whedon, they're very clumsily done, I would say. To credit to the writers that come after, who write Widow, who weave that into a three-dimensional character.
So the first chat of a Black Widow movie came in 2010 during a press conference for the Blu-ray release of Iron Man 2, when Kevin Feige told Superhero Hype, "We've already started discussions with Scarlett about the idea of a solo movie, and we've begun putting together concepts, but the Avengers comes first."
He put that out there. If that's when he first floated the idea of it, he's brought that upon himself, where you've got the whole audience going, "Where's our Black Widow movie?"
The reason why is because fans figured it was going to come. So you have created a world in which Iron Man gets a movie, Thor gets a movie, Cap gets a movie. Your natural implication would be like, okay, so then Hawkeye gets a movie, Nick Fury gets a movie, Black Widow gets a movie.
But I don't know if...
Well, that's what, the fans asked him that question.
Well,
it's not like Kevin Feige was like, okay, guys, little drop a scoop for you, we're going to do the same. It's like, is Black Widow going to get a solo movie?
The fans are going to ask if frickin' Doctor from Ultron's going to get a movie. That's not... I look at it and go, oh yeah, of course they get their movies because they are solo. They're like the A-team. Hawkeye, Coulson, Fury, Widow. They're supplementary characters in the Avengers. So I would like it to happen, but I never thought, at the time.
Yeah. Well, they were developing it because Nicole Perlman, who did Guardians of the Galaxy, revealed that she did write a treatment for Black Widow in about 2010, 2011. She added on Twitter, "I can't speak for how long it will be until we get a Black Widow movie. I hope soon, but I know that Marvel has a lot on their plate." This is going to be a bit of a recurring theme. She was interviewed about it by Cineplex in 2014, where she said, "I do hope it gets developed. I didn't work on it as much as Guardians, and they also used me as an uncredited writer on Thor, and I wrote all of Natalie Portman's scenes. The Black Widow project didn't get to script phase. It was just a treatment, but it's pretty in-depth, and hopefully we'll see it one day. Fingers crossed." The Phase 2 lineup gets released. Black Widow is not on that lineup. But Scarlett Johansson would get a role in the Avengers and again in Winter Soldier. Feige said while promoting Winter Soldier to Total Film, "We start filming the next Avengers film at the end of March. Black Widow's part in that is very big. We learn more about her past and learn more about where she came from and how she became in that film. The notion of exploring that even further in her own film would be great, and we have some development work with that." But by this point, Marvel also said, "We've got all of our lineup of movies figured out until 2021. So here we are. This is like 20 years.
Well, this is in there, isn't it? Came out in 2021, and it was meant to come out sooner.
Yeah. In 2014, David Hayter told Latino Review he was calling Marvel trying to get his version of the movie reinstated. It didn't happen. Neil Marshall also said in 2014 he would like to make a Black Widow movie.
Oh, Neil Marshall of Dog Soldiers, the Descent fame. Descent is sort of a female-led horror movie, so you can see why he would fit quite well there.
ScarJo played the character again in Age of Ultron, and she told Collider while promoting that movie, "I've spoken to Kevin about it. I mean, of course we've had that conversation before. And I think Kevin would also like to see a standalone movie. I think I can speak for him and say that. That's all, really. Right now, I think this character is used well in part of a universe, but I think that Kevin, we've talked about it, and we both share a similar vision on what a standalone series could be." She added, "My contract has changed. Marvel and myself didn't really know how the fans were going to react to Black Widow the first time and how she was going to be. They couldn't anticipate how they would use her and what they would want her to be. We're invested in that character, but the audience had a great reaction to that character, which has been so awesome. For instance, I wasn't contracted into doing Cap movies, but that storyline worked so well, I kind of branched off, and I found myself in a standalone movie. My contract is kind of mutating, I guess, or morphed to fit the demand of the character." So when she was in for Iron Man 2, it was like, she is going to be a supplementary character. But the popularity is like, maybe... Like, no one was demanding a Hawkeye solo movie, but they were demanding a Black Widow solo movie. Phase 3 gets announced. There's no Black Widow movie. Captain Marvel was announced within that, though. It left fans wondering why there was no Black Widow movie if we're going to do a Captain Marvel movie. And Feige told Fandango in 2016, "Yes, for sure. I think Black Widow at some point would be great. But when you start talking about things that are now 4 or 5 years away, sometimes we do that. Doctor Strange has been talked about for 10 years, but we're focused on the next 9 movies, which is a lot between now and 2019.
Yeah, it's a cram slate, and the proof is somewhat in the pudding. It's the greatest run of films ever released by a studio.
So to answer your question as to why this movie is not where it is, it's because we had to focus on getting these other films done first. It always felt like to me, when I'm reading back on a lot of these interviews, Black Widow was, we'll get to it when we get to it. It's not a priority. We'd love to do one. Got to do the Avengers first. We'd love to do one, but we've kind of got to focus on Age of Ultron first. We'd love to do one, but actually we're in phase 3 at the moment. We've got to finish that. Then we'll finally get to it.
I think it's a mistake. I think phase 3 for me, obviously it's the best phase. Uncoincidentally, it's the phase where the New York office of Ike Perlmutter and everyone over there is told to back the hell off and let the LA guys, which is the Marvel Studios guys, Kevin Feige, etc., do their vision, which means more diversity. They don't have to rely on, well, will this sell toy sets? It's like, no, we're just going to make the best films we can and cast who we want, like gender and racial diversity. So to then be so bold in your phase 3 lineup, because you get, I guess the Russos, they're quite a safe, proven thing. Because of the TV work they've done, very respected there, juggling vast casts of characters. But then when you get James Gunn come in and take these weird space misfits, totally isolated, they're miles away, millennia away in space. And then your lineup is a totally new Thor in Thor Ragnarok, directed by unproven big box office director Taika Waititi.
Yep.
That is a huge gamble, character-wise and director-wise.
I think that is Marvel just putting all faith into Chris Hemsworth. Because Hemsworth was like, I need to fix this character. And they were like, what would you like to do?
Yeah. So you put a bet on him. You believed in him. Ryan Coogler. Yeah, he's done Creed by this point, I believe. But, you know, he's still working his way up. He's not at that top level. You know, Fruitvale Station. Incredible films he's done. He's worked with Michael B. Jordan, but Chadwick Boseman, you know, not a really known star at this point. They believed in them. They believed in Scott Derrickson and Benedict Cumberbatch. Probably more of a safer bet with Cumberbatch to do Doctor Strange and the magic side of things. So then you're like, well, why haven't you believed in Scarlett Johansson, who is a top-tier Hollywood draw, and the Black Widow character?
What movie do you take out? If you've got to do this in phase 3, which movie do you take out of phase 3?
Good question.
Because this is what I'm saying. This is why this movie doesn't happen in phase 3. There's no room for it.
So phase 3 is... Ant-Man is the end of phase 2.
Yeah.
So then you've got Guardians Volume 2, Thor Ragnarok, Black Panther, Doctor Strange...
Captain Marvel.
Spider-Man. I'd take out Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Yeah, I mean, probably, but that's probably your safe bet, right? Because you've got...
Is it?
Well, it's your sequel to Ant-Man, and also you've got to set up the quantum realm.
You need to set up the quantum realm for the time travel bits.
Yeah. So you can't take that movie out because you actually got to do too much around the quantum realm.
I wonder if there's a way to... Because, like, Thor Ragnarok is really Thor and Hulk. It's a two-hander. And
you're doing that because you got the safe bet with Hemsworth. And also...
You know what? I'll do a Captain America Black Widow movie.
But where? Because you can't... Because Civil War's got to go in there.
Oh, yeah, Civil War's the other big one there.
That's what kicks off phase 3.
It's a good question. Well, maybe I'll just push everything back slightly and put another film in there.
That would be the answer, right? Just do another one. I mean, actually, you look back on it now, what a terrible decision it would have been. I mean, you wouldn't have known this at the time. Because that would mean the Endgame would have come out during the pandemic, or been delayed until 2021, or been delayed until 2022. And by that time, you might have lost all momentum off the back of that.
Or it could build to a fever pitch because everyone would have rewatched the MCU over the pandemic.
In the Bob Chapek era, when he would have just been like, make me more series.
Turn Endgame into a 16-part miniseries.
It would have been on Disney Plus, split over multiple different things. Like, you're right, but that's with the benefit of hindsight. I think they were looking at it here. It's like, we've got too much on our plate. What Nicole Perlman said. We've got too much on their plate. We've got to introduce all of these, the rest of the stones. Got to get the quantum realm set up. We've got to appease a lot of these contracts we've got with big name people. Black Widow is a B-level character within this. She cannot be a focus because we need to also get Black Panther and Captain Marvel because they're going to be our big stalwarts when we get into phase 4. There's too much to do for what is a movie that sets up nothing else.
Well, you change the movie because it's coming out in an appropriate time as opposed to a flashback piece, a period piece somewhat, it sets up the events of Infinity War.
How?
Because it shows, you tweak the story slightly, Scarlett Johansson ends up working with Captain America at some point, and that's why they're together, and you get a nice bit. Look, it's really disappointing that Civil War ends, Cap's breaking out, Falcon and whoever from the raft, and then you got a bit in Black Panther, Winter Soldier's recovering over there now. It would be nice to see some of the adventures that this renegade Avengers go on with Black Widow's help.
So you're advocating for another movie within there?
No, make this the movie. And in that bit, they have to go and they find Black Widow's family.
I think you are preaching a beautiful, lovely worldview where this could happen. I think that this is a more realistic worldview is we have got X amount of movies that we can do before we have to do Endgame. And we've got to focus on these ones here. And these are the more important movies to focus on. I'm not saying that it's a beautiful world, but that is the realistic world that they're in.
Well, two things then. Well, three things then. If that's what you're going to do, don't kill off Black Widow. Kill off Hawkeye in Endgame. And then just have a normal Black Widow movie. Looking back, I think it would have probably been more useful to have Black Widow as a surviving character out of Endgame, and she can be the veteran guide for these new Avengers.
Yeah,
because she's a holdover, like Peter Parker.
She was there with Cap at the end of Ultron to be like, they're not the 27 Yankees, but we can do X, Y, and Z.
And she's almost the senior figure in there. She is the new Captain America, really.
Perhaps. Counter to that, again, I'm just putting the realistic worldview here. Bob Chapek is coming, so I need more content. So your idea is to do a Hawkeye TV series, because we've also been talking to Jeremy Renner about doing a Hawkeye solo project, and we need to introduce Kate, who's going to be the new Hawkeye.
Well, so we'll still just run it back. The story of Hawkeye is Yelena going after Hawkeye because Black Widow died. Have Kate go after Black Widow because she blames her for Hawkeye's death.
That doesn't work out quite.
I cannot fix every creative ripple of this.
And now you're in Kevin Feige's position.
But they have loads of talented people. I think it's a very clear wrong bit of fantasy booking how they told these stories.
I agree with you, but I'm also giving you the realism of why this movie didn't happen when it did happen.
No, you're giving me the corner they've booked themselves into.
The corner they've been pushed into, yes.
By their own decisions.
It's not fully by their own decisions. It's not fully their own decisions. There's also the Chapek situation. There's also the Disney Plus situation that's forcing them into these positions here.
Their decisions.
They're not their decisions. That's above their pay grade. We'll get on to Kevin Feige later. In 2019, Kevin Feige becomes the head of not just Marvel Studios, the head of Marvel Entertainment. At the same time, he loses Iger. And you talk about Phase 3 and how Phase 1 and Phase 2 has got the creative committee and their little fingerprints on it. And Phase 3 has no creative committee. And as you said then, that's the best one they had. Because I think that's Feige and Bob Iger, who just gave him complete free reign. I think it is no coincidence that Phase 4 is messy as all get out because he loses Iger and he gets Bob Chapek instead.
You're totally right in that regard. One of the things that comes up in the MCU book you've got there is Feige is conflict averse. And
that's true.
I think really you're the president of Marvel Entertainment. You're so powerful now. You've got this track record. Chapek is your new boss, and he's telling them we need Disney Plus, we need this. I mean, maybe make a stand. You have Victoria Alonso leave during this period for other reasons, it's not like, oh, I'm Kevin Feige. It's all management's decision. Sometimes you got to grow a pair of balls, right? You can't be Paul Levesque all the time. It's TKO's fault. It's TKO's fault.
In which case, then I think Kevin Feige just sees this as a B-plot movie.
Well, then that's bad as well.
It is bad. I'm not saying it's good, but I think the way this film is and the way this film came out and in the position it is in Phase 4, I think you always saw this as it's not an important part of the puzzle.
I think trying to work all this through, I won't kill Widow.
I think killing Widow was still the right call. Having watched Endgame, the death doesn't land.
It's not an emotional death scene.
I disagree. I watched it again recently and I cried.
I thought it was a bit weird at the time when I watched it. Didn't fully resonate with me. Nowhere near the levels of like everyone getting snapped away, or Tony's death, or Cap going back in time. It's just she's like even the way it's filmed and directed and the score and stuff. It's like it's really trying to hit hard.
Oh, it's telling you it's emotional.
But I don't think it works fully. I think Widow should have survived. And then the Black Widow movie tells a different story, and it kicks off, how do we rebuild the Avengers in a post-Tony and Steve world?
I disagree ever so slightly. We'll try and get back onto the production history side in a moment. But I think if you kill off Hawkeye, I think that kills... That's the wrong story to tell for Hawkeye. Because Hawkeye's a redemption story for him. He starts off Endgame as Ronin, just killing dudes.
Yeah, so he's got to pay for the blood on his ledger.
But I think he then, it's in that moment he has this thing. It was like, I've been given a second chance at this. And he can go home and be a family man again because his family gets snapped back into existence. Because his family gets snapped back into existence and he's now dead.
Yeah, tragedy.
It's tragedy for them, but it's not a nice it's not a nice uplifting thing. Black Widow's got fucking no one at this point because Yelena doesn't exist at this point.
Black Widow's got to deal with that then. You know, and it's not like Black Widow's going to go, yeah, fine, you go for it. You'll still run that scene through where they're both trying to stop each other from killing themselves.
Bummer of an ending.
Yes, it is a bummer of an ending.
It's fucking Endgame. It's supposed to be the happy ending.
Tony dies, Steve.
But he saves the world doing so.
So does Hawkeye if he dies.
But then his family get blipped back into existence and we're like, oh no, sorry, your dad's now dead.
Yes.
That's not an uplifting ending. It's a bummer of an ending.
It's a sad thing that happens.
It's bad enough we're going to do it with Tony's kid. At least she knew him.
We disagree. This comments, right? This is now about who should have died, Hawkeye or Black Widow. I'm in support of women, and Luke is in support of Jeremy Renner, who famously called Black Widow a whore.
More projects for white men is what I'm calling for.
You've got Endgame is the opportunity to clear the slate a bit of all the white Chris's.
So yeah, you keep hold of Jeremy.
This is why Black Widow's on my list for why I wanted to dive into it. I will also say,
having watched this movie again, I finished it yesterday. I am gutted that we can't have more movies with Black Widow and Yelena.
Yeah, Yelena is so good.
She is great. Like she's the star of this movie, really. Which I think actually that's my other bummer about this movie is that it is Black Widow's solo movie, but it's not really Black Widow's solo movie. It's Yelena's debut movie.
It's Yelena and Red Guardian.
Exactly right. Like they're kind of really the focus of this. But I actually wanted to see adventures of the four of them working together. This like weird misfit family. But anyway, so back in, where are we? 2016. Scarlett Johansson tells Variety, I would love for it to happen under the right circumstances. I think there's a lot of opportunities to mine that storyline. She's got such a rich origin story. There's lots of places you can go. You can bring it back to Russia. You can explore the Widow program. There's all kinds.
So it's always going to be an origin story.
Well, you can do.
It deals with the effects, yeah.
There's all kinds of stuff you can do with it. You could really uncover the identity of who this person is, where she's from, and where she's part of. There's plenty of backstory. Or not. Could be something else. Where do the Avengers go? They're underground. What happens then? What happens after it all falls apart? There's so many ways you can go. I think it would be a very much like its own specific thing. It would have its own specific vibe. It would have been totally different than any of the other standalone movies. I think if the fans wanted it enough, then it would probably become a reality. So it's your fault, fans. I've talked to them about it often. I would have it fit to the idea where they would go, I'm invested in that character. Marvel is greatly invested in that character. If I did it, it would have to do it in a while. I still actually want to wear the skin-tight catsuit. I don't know how much longer that's going to be. She told Total Film while promoting, who remembers this film, Ghost in the Shell.
Yes, of course.
Yeah. When I was reading this, like, oh yeah, she was in a Ghost in the Shell live-action remake.
I've not seen it, but I really wanted to. Was it good?
No.
That's what a female action-led movie gets you.
She told Total Film, I've talked to Kevin Feige about it. We're creatively very compatible. I think we both agree that the character is right for a standalone. It's just a case of timing at this point for both Marvel and myself.
Well, that's what you said. Timing, where do you fit it in the Phase 3 schedule?
And in 2017, they decided now is the time. We're going to make a Black Widow solo movie, and we're going to start bringing in people to give us pitches, give us your ideas of what you would like to do. And that was in 2017. Jessica Gao, or Zhao maybe, who would go on to make She-Hulk for Marvel, came in and she gave her pitch for it, which was hugely influenced by the movie Grosse Point Blank.
Oh, cool. The retired hitman. Yeah.
I love Grosse Point Blank.
Yeah.
It's such a good film.
Very, very fun, comedic, dark comedy. Because I do think that is missing. Black Widow is just pretty generic in this film. She almost has to play the straight role alongside the cast of characters around her. I don't think the film ever gets that balance right to do Widow's character justice.
So,
but Grosse Point Blank is a good example of how he can.
She told the Wrap, this is the pitch she gave. It was basically a Grosse Point Blank story for Black Widow. Basically, you find out that in high school, as a teenage spy / Russian agent, she was planted at an American high school because she had to assassinate someone's dad. Then 20 years later, she goes back to the high school reunion and has to deal with the fallout of this fake identity where she's betrayed all of those people. Isn't that a lot of fun?
It's never been kissed. It's Grosse Point Blank. Yeah. It's and because one of the great joys of Phase 3 is when they start to go, all right, we're going to do superhero movies, but it's going to be a superhero, but it's a heist movie. Superhero, but it's a space opera. You could have had. I know you've got Spider-Man: Homecoming, and there's a high school element to it, but it doesn't really feel high school in the vein of. It's a 90s high school comedy rom-com.
And we're going back to it.
Yeah.
Romy and Michelle's high school reunion.
Yes. And then you can satisfy what was becoming quite popular at the time. The 90s kitsch stuff that you get in Marvel.
Yeah.
Captain Marvel, I mean, not the studio.
I think that would have been a really fun setup.
Really like that concept.
I think it's also in the MCU book as well. One of the other things that she was pitching was that She-Hulk would be in it. And one of the reasons was it felt more like a She-Hulk movie that Black Widow's a part of. So I think it's no coincidence then she goes on to make She-Hulk.
Marvel do that, don't they? It's like people come in to pitch stuff and it's the classic... You're not right for this role, but we'll keep your CV on file.
Yes.
Which is usually a way to politely get rid of people. But I think they genuinely then go back, oh no, this person was good for this.
In 2018, they met with Jack Schaefer to write up the script. She was already within the Disney circle. She'd written Olaf's Frozen Adventure and will go on to write WandaVision. So this from Variety. Sources say that it's still in very early development as the film has no green light, but naming a writer is the closest the studio has come to moving forward on a standalone pick. Marvel president Kevin Feige met with several candidates before tapping Schaefer, and Marvel executives met with Johansson to discuss what they wanted from a Black Widow writer. Schaefer is an up-and-coming scribe who broke out with her Blacklist script, The Shower, a comedy about an alien invasion during a baby shower, which caught the eye of Anne Hathaway, who quickly attached herself to the picture. Unfortunately, that film never came out, but it sounds like a lot of fun. Justin Kroll posted on Twitter, fun fact, more than 65 directors have met for the Black Widow job. Marvel are being extremely thorough on this one. Coraline Farge was one of those people who decided to pass because she instead wanted to direct The Substance. She told Instant, I met with the people for Black Widow, but I didn't show much interest. I really took the time to think about it. I didn't want to be deprived of final cut. I wanted to continue writing my stories, to continue my projects artistically from beginning to end. This is, I think, going to be another part of the problem of Marvel. I'm going to read you a quote from the MCU book in a second as well. Like, her reason there is, I don't want to do this because I'm not going to have full control of that movie. Part of it's basically already going to be done for me, and that's not the film I want to make right now. Within the MCU book... physical copy, of course. When Lucretia Mattel met with Marvel Studios to discuss her directing Black Widow, Marvel told her that it was looking for a female director because it wanted someone who'd be focused on Scarlett Johansson's character. As she recalled, they also told me, don't worry about the action scenes, we'll take care of that. I was thinking, well, I would love to meet Scarlett Johansson, but I would also love to make the action sequences.
Yeah, because the action sequences are... And I read that this is another reason I feel so weirdly about Black Widow. It's the first movie since maybe Iron Man 3 where I felt like an Age of Ultron, actually. So that the Phase 2 section where you're like, oh, this is just CGI nonsense for the final 45 minutes.
Yeah.
And action scenes, yeah, sure, they've got to look spectacular. But like a good wrestling match, they've got to tell a story.
Yeah, I agree.
They've got to have ups and downs.
It's what it lost its half star for me.
Yeah.
I was reviewing on Letterboxd.
And that's what happens when you don't have the sort of directors also involved in or the writers maybe really involved in the storytelling aspect of the action scenes.
Yeah, when the action scenes are done before the director's even hired.
Yeah, it's just that it really is a backwards way of doing things, and it's pure style over substance.
It is. I took a bit of heat in the comments on our Mario Brothers things because I said that the Hollywood studios aren't giving directors a chance to be visionaries or actually put any artistic license on it, and that's why all films look the same. And some people were like, all films don't look the same. All films have and I was like, I feel like they do though.
I reckon if you did a study of that they've done studies of here's what roads looked like in the 50s, just by sheer car colors, got like reds, blues, yellows, pinks, all really colourful cars used to be, and then you compare it to now, it's white and it's red,
or black,
and that's it. I reckon if you compared movies in the 90s and noughties to the 2010s, it would be a similar tend towards monochrome or just grey or sludge.
Yeah, and I think with Marvel in particular, you look at Phase 4, pretty much all of the action scenes in Phase 4 all look the same. Like this may as well be the Marvels. The Marvels, I quite enjoyed the Marvels up until its final third when it's just every other action scene has been in a Marvel movie because they make those bits first.
It's the conveyor belt. It's when the production process takes precedent over the creative.
Yeah.
And that, that's another failure of Phase 4 onwards.
You said about keeping people's profiles, their CVs in the drawer. Chloe Zhao met to direct this movie, and she told the playlist, "It didn't feel like the right story for me, so I pulled myself out of contention. Plus, there was conflict with Nomadland, which I knew was the right story for me."
I hate Nomadland. I hate it. I think it's people because it won the Oscar, didn't it?
Yeah.
If you've not seen it, it's a very good performance by Frances McDormand, but she's essentially someone who was choosing to live in their van or recreational vehicle so she can travel around the country and get temporary working jobs, which are mostly in Amazon warehouses. And it's based on the non-fiction book, which had a lot of interviews with people. And I think it's really, really misrepresentative of the reasons why people find themselves in those positions. The film treats it as like an empowering thing. Oh, this woman who's found the second lease of life laid on. Now she's traveling around everywhere. What a free spirit. It's the American spirit. It's like, no. It is a really severe economic pressure that's forced the people into this, and you're glorifying it. Like, oh, Amazon's such a great place to work. I think it's so tone deaf and patronizing.
Yeah.
I genuinely hate that film, and Chloe Zhao made that.
Are you going to watch it again before you watch Eternals?
No, but I think I probably will like Hamlet, which did and she directed that. But I think I watched something else she directed recently, and I was like, maybe she's not. I don't like her as a director.
I'm not looking forward to rewatching Eternals.
So boring.
That was really funny. So we're recording this the day after the first episode of the new series of Taskmaster, which Kumail Nanjiani is on this lineup. Have you watched it yet?
No, but he's in Eternals though.
That's they almost make a joke about it. So in his group and the team tasks, he leaves the room at one point, and the other two turn to him like, he's so famous. And then Joel Dommett clearly just trying to sort of like just says like, "Oh, I loved you in Eternals," and Camille, because he's thinking about task, he was like, "You didn't see it."
No one did. Statistically, you didn't see it.
Yeah. In 2018, The Hollywood Reporter, Kate Shortland, the Australian filmmaker perhaps best known for the Nazi drama Law, has signed on to helm Black Widow, Marvel's action-adventure project that will star Scarlett Johansson. The movie caps off a search that lasted over half a year as the studio met with over 70 directors in order to find its ideal candidate. A female filmmaker was the priority, even as the search stalled at one point and the studio looked at male helmers. Shortland, who does not have agency representation, had a fan in Johansson who pushed for her to be the Helmer. The actress admired Shorthand's handling of the female lead in Law, a critically acclaimed 2012 drama that tells of a young woman who leads her siblings through Germany as the Allied forces roll in.
Yes, so, I would consider myself pretty world cinema schooled, particularly in that period when Law's being released, and because Australian cinema was having somewhat of a new wave in the noughties. You've got Rabbit Proof Fence, films about Aborigine, stuff like that. I studied this at uni in an academic sense, and Shortland is not. It's like Law, that these aren't top tier films. I'm not denigrating them. I've not actually seen them, so I can't criticize them too much. But I'm just saying that these weren't setting the world alight, even in world cinema conversations, by the time that you're in the end of year lists.
Yeah.
Right.
No. But she is someone who is... I mean, she's got a fan in Scarlett Johansson. Scarlett Johansson apparently is the reason why she got them, because she was the one who was pushing for her. She's also a name that can come in, hasn't got too much of an idea of what you want them to do, is quite happy for you to just do the action sequences for her, and you can just focus on the characters, which is kind of what they really want her to do. And therefore, she's not going to put up too much of a artistic... There's no butting of heads there in a Kevin Feige conflict-averse world. She'll just sort of do what she needs to do.
I think she gets chewed up by the machine. I think Captain Marvel suffers a bit from this as well. And then, like most other directors in Phase 4, the stuff that is like, the first scene when they're all together in the family house and they break off into the different rooms, it's the best stuff in the movie. That's obviously what Shortland's really good at. That's why Scarlett Johansson lobbied for her to get the role,
because that's what Marvel wants. So focus on the characters, we'll do the action.
But the rest of the film is so generic. The action scenes don't have impact.
I get the impression they're just done by AI at this point.
It feels like it. There's no stakes there.
So the story with Netflix, and there's plenty of studies to show this with Netflix as well, is that Netflix will have an idea, then they'll put it through their AI system that they have to give back, here is what your audience want from a show. If you're looking to make it for this specific audience, these are the things that your audience want to have within this show. So check these off as you go to make sure that they are in there. And that's why a lot of films just look and feel the same, because they just put through a checklist of things to happen. And I think Marvel suffers from this in Phase 4, which is just like the action scenes need to be X, Y, and Z. Make sure you have A, B, and C happen within there. But it's totally then against all of the drama stuff that's in there, which is the directors are actually making. But if the directors were doing all of the drama stuff and the action scenes and making sure those two things tie together, the films would feel more whole.
Yeah, definitely. I got a bit of Iron Man 2 from this. Yeah. Like Iron Man 2 was Robert Downey Jr. going, oh my God, I just worked with... who was the writer? Thoreau.
Oh, yeah.
Justin Thoreau?
Yeah.
On Tropic Thunder.
Yeah.
So funny. Gets me. Like, let's bring him in to write Iron Man 2. Iron Man 2's a mess, right? Yeah. Because of Thoreau trying to figure out the pages on the day and stuff.
Oh, yeah, and Robert Downey Jr. just walks in and be like, I had this great idea of what we should do today.
I'm not saying it's as disruptive as that, but I think maybe Marvel listened to their star way too much here because she liked the director... But I don't think she fit the role perfectly.
Well, I disagree, because I think she does fit this role perfectly, because I think all of the stuff that's really good in this is the stuff around the character of Black Widow, the character of Yelena, the character of Red Guardian, the relationship between them. That's where this film is really at its best.
Yeah, you're right.
Where it doesn't
but that's
work,
not all the film.
It's where it doesn't work is the action stuff that she's got nothing to do with, which means that it's not at her fault, it's at the fault of Marvel.
Yes. I'm not blaming Shorthand.
Yeah.
That is her name, isn't it?
Kate
Shortland.
Yeah, Kate Shorthand. Yeah,
Shortland. But it does mean you've contracted a director in to do 45 minutes of a 2 hour 15 movie,
which is what they want.
Which is a strategic mistake.
I agree.
And baffling, considering all the success you just had with Phase 3 movies.
With the Russos and James Gunn and Taika Waititi, who are coming in and doing...
And Ryan Coogler.
And doing all of it. Marvel decided that Black Widow would get her first solo movie and it will kick off Phase 4. But it was not the original planned opener for Phase 4. This is from the MCU book. On Twitter in January 2018, however, so the actual goes going to be Guardians 3.
Oh.
That was going to be your first movie of Phase 4.
Because Thor leaves, and that was one of the big exciting bits. Oh my God, I can't wait to see Fat Thor on the sort. No, he's still overweight then. On the ship with Guardians
As
in
Guardians
space.
of the Galaxy.
And then it's like 10 minutes.
Taika Waititi was like, I don't want to make that movie.
Yeah.
And so he makes it. So he's like, and we're just going to sack off Thor and we're going to do something else. Oh no, James Gunn was like, I don't want to make that movie.
Which is such a shame because the comic potential there, but I guess he wanted to wrap up his trilogy.
Yeah, he was more focused. Like, I think with James Gunn, he actually wasn't interested in all of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. He was just interested in his characters. He wanted to do all of the cosmic stuff, but he had no interest in doing Avengers stuff. So when they put an Avenger in his movie, he's like, but it's not the movie. Yeah. So I'm just going to sack him off and I'm going to make the movie about my characters. So this is from the MCU book. On Twitter in January 2018, however, Gunn pledged $100,000 to the charity of Donald Trump's choice if the president would publicly get on a scale and proved that he weighed 239 pounds, as the White House physician claimed. Gunn hashtagged his tweet with Girther Movement, mocking Trump's birther misinformation campaign about his predecessor, Barack Obama. That was enough to make Gunn a target of the right-wing agitator and Pizzagate promoter Mike Cernovich. In July 2018, Cernovich unearthed some of Gunn's old tweets from between 2009 and 2012, when he often made jokes that were deliberately offensive and sometimes included paedophilia and rape references, like, quote, the Hardy Boys and the mystery of what it feels like when Uncle Bernie fists me, end quote, or, quote, wondering which Disneyland character would be the worst to get raped by, I think it's Goofy, but Sleepy would suck too, end quote. Gunn wasn't the only Trump critic to find his old jokes turned against him. Others who received the same treatment included The Daily Show host Trevor Noah and Rick and Morty creator Dan Harmon. While screenshots of the tweet started trending, Gunn contacted Kevin Feige. I called Kevin this morning, the morning it was going on, and said, is this a big deal? And he goes, I don't know. That was a moment. I was like, you don't know? I was surprised. Late in the day, on Thursday, July 19th, Gunn issued a public statement on Twitter in which he apologized for the jokes. Quote, I'm a very, very different man than I was a few years ago. Today, I tried to root my work in love and connection and less in anger. My days saying something just because it's shocking and trying to get a reaction are over. I used to make a lot of offensive jokes. I don't anymore. I don't blame my past self for this, but I like myself more, and I feel like I'm more human being today and a creator today. Gunn said that Feige soon let him know that his apology hasn't solved the problems. Quote, later he called me, he himself was in shock, and he told me that the powers that be had decided.
On the day?
Less than 24 hours later, on Friday, July 20th, Gunn was publicly fired. Quote, the offensive attitudes and statements discovered on James's Twitter feed are indefensible and inconsistent with our studio's values, and we have severed our business relationship with him, read a statement issued by Walt Disney CEO Alan Horn. Horn, a small C conservative staple of the studio system, who was famous for his tame dad jokes in the public presentations, had made his decision before Feige or anyone at Marvel could act. Gunn would return to Marvel 8 months later, so basically once it all sort of calmed down and stuff. But Guardians was moved then to May 2023. And I think off the back of that as well is because Dave Bautista said, I'm not coming back as Drax unless James Gunn's doing it. Zoe Saldana, not coming back unless James Gunn's doing it. I think they kind of forced Disney's hand to bring James Gunn back. But because he did that, that moved Black Widow now into this position to kick off Phase 4.
It's also another strategic mistake, I think, looking back on that, especially because they brought him back. It was a reactionary move.
Because he got to DC.
Well, you know, small C conservative typically doesn't align fully with Trump in this period. So, look, 2018, that is the height of cancel culture on both sides. You know, there's the Me Too stuff going on, and then there's right-wing people sort of intentionally targeting leftist people or people who present as leftist to sort of take them down using the same tools. And loads of people were getting their jobs lost because of who was it? Who was hosting the Oscars and it fell apart for him? The comedian who's with the Rock actor. Oh my God,
Kevin Hart.
Kevin Hart. Yes, it happened to Kevin Hart. Happened to loads of people who were then brought back shortly after in most cases. So if they just stood by him or waited for it to blow over, because you can see that Twitter and jokes and stuff in 2008 to 2012 was a very different time.
Yeah. So he's coming off the back more or less from his time at Troma as well, which was, sort of that's their bread and butter.
And just that was that not justifying it, but at the time contextually, that was a mainstream or alternative mainstream way of doing humor.
Pushing boundaries.
Yeah. Or just saying deliberately offensive things.
Yeah.
And, really, their jokes, that first one is more of a joke. What's the way to say it? Look, Always Sunny in Philadelphia has an episode based around Charlie being sexually abused by his uncle, right? And it's done for comedic purpose. That was the style of comedy, a mainstream style of comedy at the time. But I think because people wanted to expose Gunn as a hypocrite because he was purporting, he was going for Trump and stuff. But because they did that, you push Gunn into the arms of Warner Bros.
Yep.
Gunn could have been an MCU lifer.
Which is what they were looking for him to do. They were looking for him to be the new... Well, I mean, Joss Whedon obviously had gone by this point, and the Russo brothers are going to be gone after Endgame, looking to you to head up everything. I think the way it's written about in the MCU book, though, Gunn wasn't interested in doing that. He was only interested in doing the cosmic side of the universe. So even if they had managed to keep hold of him, he wasn't going to do the stuff they would like him to do.
But you've tanked your starter phase 4, and in the same movement, pissed off a lot of cast, and ultimately sent him to head up your greatest competitor in 6 years' time, as he does the Superman movie and pioneers or sort of pushes forward the DC universe.
That's right, he'll be back now. Now that Paramount are taking over, he'll be back. ScarJo told Collider on a set visit in 2019, "We started talking about this film as a reality. It's always kind of been on the table, but I guess I just never really knew what it was going to be. It was never really clear what the space for it was. This movie would have been so different if we'd have made it 10 years ago. It was a very different time. I think we can all agree on that. A lot of people ask me why we didn't do it before now, but in some ways, I'm sure there's a lot of reasons for that. In some ways, I'm actually very thankful it's happening now because we can actually make a movie that's about real stuff and audiences want that. I think that's always what's wanted. Now the studio kind of caught up with that, which is fine. It's all good. Better late than never. This movie became more of a reality, I guess, when we were shooting Infinity War, so I did know about the character's fate." What she's kind of talking about there, which is stuff we're not going to quite touch on to, Scarlett Johansson wanted to have a lot of Me Too stuff within this.
Oh, okay,
and
right.
Pitching for that, which is why Dreykov, is that the Ray Winston?
Dreykov.
That's why he is this sort of like abusive person to girls. It's because girls. Because it is kind of an indirect Me Too response movie.
Yeah, it comes off like that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's pretty toothless in a way. I think Captain Marvel does that better. That's also sort of got that strain running through it when she keeps on standing up and all the blokes who have told her she can't do those things.
To smile.
Yeah. I think Marvel, that is one of its positives.
Mm-hmm.
Black Widow comes across as a bit generic in that regard.
In February 2019, Ned Benson, who wrote The Disappearance of Eleanor Rigby, was brought in to do a rewrite of the Schaefer script. Collider wrote, "Sources say that Marvel executives were impressed with Benson's work on The Disappearance of Eleanor Rigby, which began life as a black script titled Him, before producer-star Jessica Chastain pushed Benson to write a second script titled Her, from Eleanor's perspective, one they worked on together while the actors filmed The Tree of Life. Critics were also impressed, as Her was the highest Metacritic rating of the 3 Eleanor Rigby films. There may be another reason why Marvel and Johansson hired Benson, one that has yet to be reported until now. Last summer, I'd heard that Benson had been hired to adapt the 7-part Dallas Morning News article, My Aryan Princess, for Amy Pascal's Pascal picture. What's the connection, you might ask? Well, I'd heard that Princess, about a young woman who risked her life to bring down the Aryan Brotherhood in Texas, was being developed as a starring vehicle for none other than Scarlett Johansson. Now, I was never able to confirm this information, so forgive the leap I'm about to take here, but it's entirely possible that Johansson has seen Benson's work on the project, liked it, and took the initiative to bring him onto Black Widow. Again, I'm not saying Johansson is even officially attached to the Princess project, just that she was rumoured to be Pascal's first choice for what it is, and trust me when I say this, since I've read the full article, an incredible role. I'm just saying, Johansson clearly has a lot of sway when it comes to Black Widow, as she is the one who's pushed for Marvel to hire Shortland in the first place. Then Eric Pearson's brought in to rewrite that script. Pearson was part of Marvel's Writers Project. They basically brought in a bunch of unproven writers, and you worked for Marvel, and you just basically developed script ideas. That was basically your role. Not to get made, just so you could get the experience of developing a script and developing a treatment and giving that pitch to them. And a lot of them then go and work on projects, i.e. Eric Pearson, who gets to write this movie. And he's the sole writer on this movie, and Schaefer and Benson get story by credit.
I think that practice of the writer's room development thing, I'm really impressed with that as a sort of organizational structure thing. Marvel should be proud of that.
Pearson told Comic Book Movie that he knew he had to address some things that have been hinted in other films like Budapest and what happened with Dreykov's daughter. He said, "I knew it needed to be something pretty bad. Natasha is ashamed of it. We've been doing allusions to her having a dark past. It was very important for me that this assassin spy character out from Marvel isn't just feeling guilty about a rough patch. It had to be something actively rough that she did that haunts her dreams. So once I decided that she knowingly did that she blew up a building and used a little girl as bait, then it was just, that was an argument that we had, and an argument about how dark do we really make her. For me personally, I felt darker the better because I feel it gives her father to go the other way and give her a greater depth of guilt to forgive himself. I feel there's a constant push-pull with Marvel because there are things I won't say over-discussed, but they're discussed within an inch of their life. That's the thing about working with Marvel. And it's kind of who I've worked with for most of what I really, really love, the way they do and what they care. They really care and want to spend that time to really think about everything. So yeah, there was a heated conversation about how far we're going to take Natasha's dark past. I felt one way, some people felt another way. We kind of met towards the middle.
So is the middle that the daughter survived, obviously becomes Taskmaster?
Yes.
But how could that be? They keep referring to Taskmaster as him.
Even though there's
a swerve.
There's someone in the credits here that's yet to appear in this movie.
So he just wanted Black Widow to kill the daughter and her never come back.
Yes, it needs to be something. And then, I think that's
I think that would have been better.
Marvel, when I read that, it sounds a lot like when I've spoken to people who've worked with Disney on projects that involve big Disney characters. When Chat was making Runaway Brain, when he was sort of pitching the ideas, he would say that Disney will like an idea, then after a while being like, I don't know, would Mickey work at a gas station? Would Mickey have a boat? And then that's the sort of real detail they'll go into, and they'll over discuss things and overthink things.
They've got to be protective. These are, it's great to tell stories and stuff, but Mickey Mouse is the most important thing to their brand.
Which is why I think it was mad then that when they did that deal with, was it Sora?
It's
Oh, you can just make AI with all of our characters now as long as you don't use voice. I was like, you need to be so protective of these characters. Yeah. So anyway, this decision led to the changing of Taskmaster. So in the movie, the reveal is that it's Dreykov's daughter. In the original versions, it's Tony Masters, the original Taskmaster that's in the comic books. And O.T. Fagbenali, who is... excuse me.
Gets choked up about this. Oh, Tony Masters, because that's also TM. Yes. Taskmaster. Wow.
Who plays Rick Mason within this movie. He's like the chap that helps Black Widow collect stuff, I guess.
Oh, that he's sort of their fixer.
Yes.
The guy who you need a plane, I'll sort you out with some money and the safe house.
The chap from The Handmaid's Tale.
Yes, yeah. Oh, he was originally meant to be Taskmaster.
Basically, I first auditioned for Taskmaster, and it was this. It was a really incredible speech, actually. It was an audition I was very proud of, and I've still got it back someplace. And he was I made him with an African accent, and he was this kind of maniacal-like character. And somewhere along the journey of writing and things above my pay grade, I basically got told it was down to, it's me or someone else. That kind of thing, and that version of Taskmaster. And in various iterations of the movie, that version of Taskmaster went away, and they just came to me and said, hey, there's this character called Mason. Do you want to play Mason? So I was like, hell yeah, I'd love to play Mason. And so the Taskmaster I was going to be didn't exist in that iteration of Black Widow. So yeah, that was the original part of this. Now we get to Ray. Ray Winstone.
Ray Winstone.
Not a fan of certain aspects of making a Marvel movie. He said at the Sarajevo Film Festival in 2025, I worked with this amazing director, Kate Shortland, and we worked on what my character was going to be. He was like a paedophile running around all these girls, and they'd become Black Widows. We used to get applauded on set.
Like a paedophile? Well, that doesn't come through. I never got...
Oh, we'll get to it.
I mean, maybe that is a bit too strong for an MCU movie.
He was like a paedophile running around with all these girls, and they became Black Widows. We used to get applauded on set. It was probably the best thing I've done for a really long time. Then I come home after finishing the job and I get a call saying, we need to do some reshoots. I say, how many scenes? Kate says, all of them. So I said she should recast the role. But I was contracted, so I had to do it. I go back, they do my hair all nice, put me in the suit, and I couldn't do it. I'd already done it. I thought, I'm not doing it now, I've done it. That's how it's going to be. That's rejection, you know. There's nothing worse than doing something, leaving on the floor, then being told it's not right.
Because it's pretty full on as an actor to be like, okay, I'm going to take the leap to play a paedophile in a mainstream movie, right? So you're like, okay, if I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do it with every ounce of my ability and energy.
Not saying as well that he said that Dreykov was a paedophile, but like is in the sense of he is abusing these young women.
Yeah, and that that I can see that. So you could kind of read between the lines, but I wouldn't say there's anything that ever comes across sexually in the interactions.
There's a line where one of the characters says like, I think it might be they just meat to me. Yeah.
But I almost like meat grinder, as in send them into battles. I think he certainly physically assaults them. That's sort of what I got. So for him to do that with, Shortland is a very good, by this and what we've heard, very good director of actors. So for them, all of that nuance and performance choices to be told, actually, we don't want that. Yeah, I can feel Ray's pain there.
And I think that, for conspiracy hat on now, that's why he doesn't actually have any speaking scenes in the movie until the end. I think a lot of the stuff with Dreykov is cut out of the movie, and all the stuff we get at the end is the reshoots he's done with Scarlett Johansson that has toned it down maybe somewhat, and with a checked out Ray Winstone who no longer cares about being in this project.
Because it does, I did make that note in my rewatch. It is when Dreykov's revealed at the end, you finally meet him in his big fortress in the sky. It doesn't really feel impactful. It's just like, oh, okay, you're meeting him now.
Yeah.
But if you had, I was like, maybe you should have had scenes throughout the movie where it's cutting to, you do cut to him,
but he doesn't say anything.
And he just operates a panel. He doesn't say anything.
You see him at the start of the movie talking to David Harbour as well, but that's really
yeah. But if he had other scenes of actual more action and character development, when you finally have the confrontation between the two, it might be like, whoa. Or the other option is to just keep him hidden for the entire film. So when you finally see him, it's like, oh, there he is. Yeah. And you build him up as the sort of Wizard of Oz scary character. But yeah, this satisfies neither of those.
I agree.
Better ways of doing it.
And unfortunately, it just means that Dreykov becomes yet another lame villain within a Marvel movie.
In an action scene where things fall from the sky.
Where they're not the important part of a film. They are just there because you need to have a villain. And Taskmaster, I feel, is the same way as well. It's like, we need to have Taskmaster. Yeah. But really, Taskmaster is just there so you can do a reveal that she was Dreykov's daughter.
And one of the bits I really hate is how Black Widow is like, I'm gonna release you, and I know you'll just beat me up, but I believe in you. And I'm like, what in this film has made you have this connection with this? But for all you know, she's brain dead.
Yeah,
and she's just a husk of a person with
this building fell on her.
Yeah, with this like mind control thing that's making her carry on. There has been no little glance, no interaction with her that makes you believe, oh, there's someone in there that I need to rescue.
Yeah, because I didn't know. Because I thought when I was watching this, like, can you use the red mist on her to get her out of it? But I was like, I think she's different to the other widows, though, so I don't know if it is the same thing.
That whole plot doesn't land at all.
Yeah, I agree. He also was very mean about just, like, the film industry as a whole. He said, you have to go on Instagram. And I don't want to go on fucking Instagram. I don't know if it's a good thing, but if it brings people to the cinema and creates new jobs, then I'll do it. But I'd like to see more cultural films being made. That's where good cinema is, from my point of view anyway. He said of modern cinema, it's all about selling tickets. We see what's happening in Hollywood with Marvel and all that kind of stuff. There is room for it, and it's fun, but it takes away from getting cultural films made, which are where best for actors, and it's really good acting part. It's getting more and more difficult to do that. If you're not on social media now, they might not even consider you for a movie because they want a fan base to come with that.
And that's Ray Winstone saying that.
Yeah. I remember someone on How Did This Get Made said, it was a guest that they had on, were talking about a movie that they were working on as a writer, and the studio head just gave them a sheet with like, here are all the actors that we would like to consider for this role, and he said it was just the cast of Game of Thrones, because Game of Thrones was on TV at that point and it was a hot thing. That's what casting choices are made on a lot of. Is like, are you from something that is currently hot, or have you got a lot of followers on social media? And I said that when they revealed the casting for Fantastic Four. I was like, man, if this isn't checking some boxes right here. The most popular character from Stranger Things Season 4, the most popular character from The Bear, Pedro Pascal, and the woman who my wife doesn't like because she went to university with her and she's annoyed that she's more successful.
I was just thinking, surely Ray's been in other big movies, though. Like, he's such a respected actor. I'm just scrolling through his filmography here. The Chronicles of Narnia, he's Mr. Beaver. But other than that, Indiana Jones. Oh, yeah! Crystal Skull.
I forgot he's in that.
Yeah, Percy Jackson.
What are we gonna do, Indiana? What are we gonna do, Jones?
Oh man, maybe I'm totally off here. He's done a few Snow White and the Huntsman. I guess he is one of those guys that they're like, oh, we need a British actor. Yeah. But he's a phenomenal actor, and you can see his passion is. He's in Cats. His passion is stuff like Scum, it's Nil by Mouth, it's Sexy Beast. He is a fantastic actor.
Yeah, it's terrifying as well.
And this is not a creatively fulfilling role for him when he must have thought it would be.
So 2019 is a big pivotal year.
He's not really done much since,
2019 is
but he is the voice of West Ham Stadium. It says 2022 to present, West Ham legend. He is the voice at the stadium of West Ham Football Club.
Hello, boys and girls.
Which is over the road.
It is over the road, yeah. So 2019 is a pivotal year for Marvel and Disney as a way, because Kevin Feige gets promoted to the head of Marvel Entertainment. He now controls everything. He controls the comic books, the TV, the films, and he's like, great, I'm going to start linking all of these together. We're going to start making some TV shows that are actually linked to the movies that we're making. And I'm going to bring back some of these forgotten characters. That's why Thaddeus Ross gets to come back. He brings back Abomination. I'm going to resurrect Abomination. Do you remember that character you thought we were never going to bring back? I've brought them back, and we're going to give them a second chance at things. We also got the launch of Disney Plus. Marvel Studios head of streaming, Brad Winderbaum, telling Phase Zero podcast, frankly, in all honesty, there was a mandate to kind of create as much as we could for Disney Plus as quickly as we could. And that is one of the big falling points of Phase 4, is that they would have just liked to have made, their films and their TV shows, but Disney were like, no, make us twice as much as you're planning, because we have to fill content.
And don't spend as much time on the ones you wanted to focus on.
Do it super quickly and super cheaply as well, because we don't want to spend any money doing this.
You got to remember, this time pre-pandemic, we are sort of in peak prestige TV. It's like it was TV that was telling the really interesting, amazing, long-running stories. So at the time when you go, well, we're going to do a WandaVision, we're going to do Loki, we're going to do Captain America and the Winter Soldier.
Because we need to set up Falcon as the new Captain America.
Yeah, I was like, it's not like we were all there at the time going, well, don't do that. That's a bad idea. You'll sacrifice the prestige movie element of these characters, and the big draw. That there used to be a mentality where if you put something on the small screen, it undermines and ultimately devalues the film propositions for people.
Disney certainly think that.
And I think that was actually true. Until TV got so good and such high production, and actors like big box office actors started to appear in them, because it was no longer a stigma against them, because the roles and the money and stuff like that was there. So for all of those series, we're like, yes, this is the next stage in the MCU. I don't think doing TV series, prestige TV series for these characters was a mistake. I think it was a very smart move. Actually, arguably makes it more accessible for a lot of people to get into.
Yeah.
But, like you said, it was the amount they had to deliver.
And the short amount of time for it.
And it compromised quality. I think WandaVision really drops off at the end. I think that final episode is balls.
Yeah.
I think Captain America and Winter Soldier, something I was so excited
Falcon
for.
and the Winter Soldier.
Sorry, yeah. just is ultimately not good enough.
I was so into it, but I started to get quite bored by the end.
I know people love Loki, and I love the production design and look of it, and the actors involved. I think it's really subpar.
Mm-hmm.
I do not think it's good enough. I think it's a poorly told story, and it's just the scripts aren't there.
No, Moon Knight I think has the same problem. Miss Marvel I think is one of the better ones. I quite enjoyed Miss Marvel. I loved Hawkeye, and actually when I finished this, it made me want to rewatch Hawkeye. But actually my first thought was, I can't be asked to watch a full series. I want to watch it. I can't be asked to watch a full series of it though. If it was a movie, I would probably just queue it up next on Disney Plus and watch that. But to watch like 8 episodes or whatever it is, I'm not sure I can be asked to watch 8 hours of something.
And that's a really important point to keep in mind, because Disney Plus are like, they're not serving the customers either. They're serving their engine that needs fuel.
Yeah.
Right? So you're not, the people who are making it aren't happy, and the people who are consuming it, like you, that you can't get bigger fans of the MCU, really. Like, we're in the top tier.
Absolutely, dude. When they first announced they were doing these TV shows, I was like, give me loads.
Yes, give me more.
Give me more of them.
And you know what? That wasn't what we needed.
No, the monkey's paw.
Yeah,
curl.
it was what we wanted, but you sacrifice quality. And now it becomes, well, actually keeping up with 2 to 3 movies a year, that's quite a lot. Now I've got to watch 2 to 3 movies a year and 4 series with 10 episodes each. It's like people start to drop off.
Yeah, and I think that's what happens with Marvel.
Yeah.
And I think you have this, even at 2021 when this film comes out, this attitude of, and I know, and it's anecdotal, granted, but I had friends of mine who were so into the MCU who were telling me, I was like, I haven't watched that one. And I'm probably not going to catch up on that one. The same thing happens with Star Wars. Dude, I was top tier Star Wars fan. I really, really was. I've not watched a lot of the Star Wars shows that Disney Plus have made because it drove me away from being a Star Wars fan. Because Mando season 3, I was like, this is actually a bit balls, this. So I turned it off. Boba Fett, it's a bit balls, this. So I turned it off. Obi-Wan Kenobi, bit balls, this. So I turned it off. The only one I got into was Andor. But all these other ones that have come out, I haven't watched one episode. Ahsoka I've not watched. I think I watched one episode of, what was the one that Carrie-Anne Moss was? I can't remember what it's called, but Carrie-Anne Moss was in an episode, like the first episode. I haven't watched any of that one either. You get bored of them. It's too much.
I don't think people talk about this enough, but we're quite well poised to talk about it because of our business. The algorithm if you just listen to the algorithm, you will only get extreme ends of ideas. And I don't mean like cool, really out of the box ideas. I mean, here's an idea that worked, so AI or the algorithm or whatever thing you're reading off will just say, do that more, do that more, do that more, do that more. And you will super serve the core group of people who will watch everything, and they actually spend the most.
Yeah.
So there is justification there that the algorithm or the AI can come back and say, well, you've told me to maximize the revenue from the core customer base who are most, and it sends you down these rabbit holes. When people talk about getting sent down rabbit holes on TikTok or YouTube, the exact same thing happens to the people running the businesses because it's the same algorithm. We've been caught in that trap where we're like 6 months down the line. Why are we making this show? We don't enjoy it. The viewers obviously don't enjoy it because the views are there. The views aren't there. Why? And we're like, it's because this is the way that the analytics nudged us.
Yeah.
And that's when you base your whole strategy around it, super serving these core audiences. Super serving ultimately makes people vomit because it's too much food.
Yeah. I think the reason why Stranger Things season 5 sucks as much as it does is because it was put through Netflix's AI tool and it spat out, you need to do these things.
Well,
and those things did not serve the greater purpose of what Stranger Things was supposed to be, but it did tick a bunch of boxes and it made it a much less good show.
That's a slightly different thing to what I'm talking about. If you followed what I was saying through on that example, it would be before Stranger Things 5, we would get a spin-off series just following these characters, and you would have like 5 different Stranger Things series that are in the Stranger Things verse.
That's true, which actually they are technically doing, because they are doing a new Stranger Things series.
Are they?
They're doing an animated series.
Yeah.
And there was the big sort of Stranger Things documentary they were making. It's like, got to make one of these, got to make an animated show, got to tell more stories about these. So yeah, maybe you're right. Anyway, so with all of this, of Kevin Feige getting this position, Bob Iger steps down as Disney CEO and is replaced by Bob Chapek, which is a messy situation. That is another topic for another podcast.
One of the worst corporate succession stories in recent times.
Hilarious at the same time. I read through this New York Times article about it, and I'll tell the brief anecdote from it that really made me laugh, because I read it out to you yesterday. But Bob Iger steps down as CEO, but doesn't really step down as CEO. He is still really, like, Bob Chapek is still running things through Bob Iger to see what he thinks. We're going to go into some of this in a little bit. But in Bob Iger's bathroom, apparently, like, he was still just going in to use the shower. Like, it's not his office anymore, but he's still going in there. But he has got 2 posters in there, 2 framed things. One of them is a collage of images of him buying Marvel, of Disney buying Marvel. And another one is a poster for a Clint Eastwood movie called The Iger Situation, or The Iger Situation, that he's replaced with The Iger Situation. It's not quite this, or The Iger Candidate. And he's on the poster. That is a movie about a assassin who comes out of retirement. It's like, it was there all along. But anyway, because we then got the pandemic on top of this, Marvel pushed back the release of this from May 2020 to November 2020, which was supposed to be the release date of The Eternals. As the MCU book writes it, Black Widow was slated for release on May 1st, 2020, but it would not make that date. As the pandemic raged, Disney and Marvel repeatedly shuffled release dates, attempting to predict when theaters might be able to draw large enough crowds to make releasing movies profitable. The studio initially pushed back each of its upcoming movies by 1 slot. Black Widow gets pushed November 2020, bumping Eternals to May 2021, which in turn bumped the 3rd Spider-Man movie, which bumped the Doctor Strange movie, and so on. When the persistence of the coronavirus triumphed over some hopeful scheduling, Marvel pushed back each of its movies 1 more slot. Black Widow would come out May 2021. For the first time since 2009, just as Feige was fully seizing his vision of a widely diverse and creatively challenging MCU, there was no Marvel Studios movie in a calendar year. The most visible new MCU content in 2020 would be appearances in Fortnite. So this is from the New York Times. As the COVID shutdowns continued into the fall of 2020, it wasn't just Disney's theme parks that bore the brunt, which is always the most important part of the Disney business, the theme parks. Disney's movies and television production had ground to a halt. Just as consumers were staying at home and turning to streaming services, Wall Street had been obsessed with subscriber gains, and Disney Plus had delivered, surpassing 70 million, hitting its initial 5-year goal after only 9 months of operation. But it needed new content, which had all dried up. Subscriber growth was slowing. I'm just going to say, there's a lot of like misters within this. The way the New York Times write this, they always call him Mr. Chapek, Mr. Iger, Mr. Feige. So just in case you're wondering why I keep saying Mr., it's because of the way they've written it. So you're going to say.
Well, I was just again, it's this, when infinite growth is the only thing you're caring about, which is an impossible thing to sustain. The fact that they achieved their 5-year goals in 9 months, isn't that where you go, well, let's not break anything, and let's really make this a good service now. But they're like, no, we've got to get more. Yeah, we've got to get...
Well, we did it in 5 years. We clearly set our goals too low.
Yes.
We should actually go for a much larger target.
Yeah.
Mr. Chapek pleaded with his studio heads, Pete Docter of Pixar, Kevin Feige of Marvel, Jennifer Lee of Disney Animation, and encountered resistance. All of them wanted to hold back their best material for debuts in theaters with star-studded premieres. Mr. Chapek had no idea when, if ever, those days would return. In the meantime, Disney needed cash flow to meet interest payments on the enormous debt it had racked up under Mr. Iger to buy most of 21st Century Fox. One of Mr. Chapek's perceived strengths was corporate organization. He proposed remaking the company around a new division, Disney Media and Entertainment Distribution, to give priority to streaming services, Disney+, Hulu, and ESPN+, and to guarantee they received a steady flow of Disney's best content. DMED, as it became better known, would have a bottom line responsibility for all of the company's entertainment and would decide where films and programs would appear, in theaters or on television or increasingly on Disney+. It would be Mr. Chapek's signature initiative as chief executive. So broadly, Marvel would say, here's what we're making. Chapek would then decide where it's going to go. That's going on Disney+. That one goes in theaters. That one goes on TV.
Yeah.
That's not really a very good way to encourage people to make stuff, I guess.
Yeah.
There was logic to Mr. Chapek's plan. But
that is important to say. Like, Chapek is the villain in this story, but like the great ones, you can understand the position, because when it's like, we don't know if premieres will ever come back, that was sort of a fear.
Well, yeah, I mean, let's take a bit of a step back. When the coronavirus pandemic did kick in March 2020, we were like, oh, we'll be at home for 6 weeks, and then we're back in the office. And then, 6 weeks becomes 3 months. 3 months becomes 6. 6 becomes 9. Then you're in a house for a full year. If you are an executive, you're like, I don't know if we'll ever get... Because they were trying desperately to get people back into cinemas. I went to go see films during 2020. I saw Tenet, because Christopher Nolan was so desperate to see, although I probably would have preferred to watch that at home so I could have put the subtitles on. I saw Bill and Ted, the third movie during the pandemic. I was on my own wearing a mask.
Just shows, though, Nolan is a very, believes in himself, and he stood up to the corporate overlords.
Because Warner Brothers were very much, and we'll get into this in a little bit, very much of the, no, we're going to just put this all onto HBO Max. Like, we can't do
Wonder Woman 84.
We're going to have same day release. Some of it will be in cinemas, but it'll be on HBO Max on the same day. There was a logic to Mr. Chapek's plan, but its seemingly benign business school rationale belied a reality, crikey, it's hard to read, to strip Disney's creative heads of authority over spending as well as where their movies and shows would be distributed would be a huge loss of power and status. Moreover, Hollywood talent wanted guarantees of where projects would end up before committing to a deal. Although division heads would still report to Mr. Chapek and indirectly to Mr. Iger, it was a huge demotion. In many ways, their new boss would really be the head of DMED. That summer, Disney was locked in negotiations over the release of Black Widow, Marvel's new big superhero film, with its star Scarlett Johansson. Now with DMED was up and running, Mr. Chapek wanted to see a return on the $350 million cost of the movie. On July 9th, a few days into the annual gathering of media moguls in Sun Valley, Idaho, Disney released Black Widow in theaters and on Disney+, even though Miss Johansson's contract called for an exclusive theatrical release and her pay was pegged to the theatrical box office. Releasing it on Disney Plus would obviously cut into ticket sales, costing her as much as $50 million, her agent contended. She's not happy, her agent told Mr. Chapek when he ran into him at a conference. This is exactly the problem that Alan Bergman, chairman of Walt Disney Studios, had warned him about when DMED was created. This is from CNBC's report of all of this. There's one hitch. Johansson's contract stipulated that her compensation was based on an exclusive theatrical release for up to 4 months. Since her contract was negotiated before COVID, this type of issue hadn't arisen before. Her agent, CAA partner Brian Lord, spent months negotiating with Disney executives throughout the organization, warning Bergman and Chapek that Johansson would sue for remuneration if they proceeded with their plan, according to people familiar with discussions. Chapek viewed Johansson's contract as a creative issue and therefore Iger's territory. Iger had a long relationship with Lord and knew Johansson. This was Iger's arena, Chapek thought. Iger, however, wasn't involved in any of the conversations with Lord, who thought that Iger would have quickly resolved the situation given the value he historically placed in creative relationships, according to people familiar with the matter. If Chapek wanted to be CEO, he should be CEO, Iger reasoned. To Iger, this was a clear business matter, a contract dispute, not a creative endeavor, according to people familiar with his thinking. By this time, Chapek and Iger were barely speaking with each other.
Oh no. Brian Lord, by the way. He's an Ovitz boy.
There he is, there's your Michael Ovitz.
Yeah, Michael Ovitz' protege, Brian Lord. But Brian Lord turned on him.
Oh,
he kicked out Ovitz. Everyone does in the end. Everyone turns on Ovitz.
In July, after multiple warnings from Lord, Johansson sued. Disney's lawyers walked through the company's options in a virtual meeting attended by 20 executives, including Iger and Chapek. Iger didn't speak, but he felt the meeting was, quote, amateur hour and a meeting, quote, run by children, with far too many people weighing in on how the company should respond, according to people familiar with his thoughts. Iger and Chapek both signed off on an aggressive public statement that accused Johansson of a, quote, callous disregard for the horrific and prolonged global effects of the COVID-19 pandemic, end quote, and revealed her $20 million salary for the film, the clear implication that she was only seeking money out of greed.
It's not, yeah. So the reputation of Disney and Marvel is they're cheap, right? But what they had managed to build up over the later bit of the Iger tenure is that they're very creative friendly. If you know how to work with them, it's very creatively rewarding. And
so to that point, Ike Perlmutter, need to get rid of Kevin Feige.
Mm-hmm.
Bob Iger said, no, I think Kevin Feige's the guy we need to keep. Actually, get rid of you, really.
Yeah, and that's always one of Ben Iger's strengths. You know, he is the guy that ultimately greenlit David Lynch making Twin Peaks for TV. Mm-hmm. That was under his ABC tenure. So you do not... What he's weirdly done there, because it says he co-signed off on it. But again, you know, pandemic, fog of war. I can see why mistakes were made or people got their backs up and defensive posturing happened. But you are just saying to the entire creative industry, we're now your enemy.
So, yeah, although Iger does co-sign that the statements put out, I think we might get into it later, or I might have read about this and I haven't got this in my notes. Iger figured, well, Chapek will be the one that gets the blame for this. I'm not the CEO of Disney at this point. Chapek will be the villain here. It was argued that Disney needed to have a forceful response because the lawsuit specifically named Iger and Chapek as financial beneficiaries from a stronger Disney Plus. Yet both Iger and Chapek disagreed with the tone of the statement. According to people familiar with the matter, neither one stopped its release because each believed the other one should be in charge. Iger called Chapek and told him he should issue a public apology, according to people familiar with the call. Chapek refused, said the people. Iger never even considered apologizing, according to people familiar with his thinking. Hollywood talent and agents largely blamed Chapek for the statement. Chapek suspected Mucha, who's like one of these sort of like other Disney people, was pushing this narrative to the press. To defend himself, Chapek solicited other members of the communications team to help him call reporters without informing Mucha, who's part of the PR team. From the New York Times, attacking Johansson was so personally and a pretty spectacular unforced error, wrote Kim Masters in The Hollywood Reporter, quote, and many observers are laying at the feet of CEO Bob Chapek, the person who isn't getting the blame, outgoing chairman Bob Iger. Mr. Chapek was stunned that he, and not Iger, was blamed for the debacle. This is now from the MCU book. Nevertheless, Chapek proceeded, overruling Feige and not bothering to contact Johansson. Because Kevin Feige was like, we need to sort the situation out. And he's like, nope, I'm putting this out. Black Widow arrived in the theaters and on Disney Plus on July 9th, 2021. After waiting 12 years since her debut in Iron Man 2 to headline her own Marvel movie, Scarlett Johansson became collateral damage in the streaming wars. When Disney trumpeted the first week revenue of $60 million from Premier Access, an announcement that pleased investors but antagonized the actress, Johansson's team filed a lawsuit alleging that Disney had violated its commitment to give the movie a theatrical-only release and was seeking $50 million in damages. Quote, why would Disney forego hundreds of millions of dollars in box office receipts by releasing the picture in theaters at a time when it knew the theatrical market was weak, rather than waiting a few months for that market to recover? Her lawyers asked. Quote, on information and belief, the decision was made at least in part because Disney saw the opportunity to promote its flagship subscription service using the picture and Miss Johansson. According to the lawsuit, Johansson's representatives had contacted Disney seeking to work out a new arrangement, but had been ignored. Feige contacted Disney and urged them to, quote, make things right, end quote, with Johansson, the kind of request that had been historically handled deftly under the Iger administration. But in the Chapek era, the official Disney statement did the opposite. It made the situation personal by revealing that Johansson had been paid $20 million for the movie, unsubtly implying that she allegedly was greedy and wanted more, and by stating, quote, the lawsuit is especially sad and distressing for its callous disregard for the blah, blah, blah. For insiders used to Iger's strict policy of not letting internal Disney conflict become public knowledge, this sniping seemed an alarming sign of what to expect under Chapek's leadership, and an indication that he might not be the successor that Iger had hoped for. Losing the PR battle, Disney settled the suit 2 months later. The studio and Johansson each issued a conciliatory press release and pledged they would be working together soon on a movie adaptation of the Tower of Terror ride. A theme park thing. From a PR perspective, the main loser in the whole episode was Kevin Feige. He hadn't made the decision to fire or rehire James Gunn, and the Black Widow contemporaries reminded everyone that although Feige had virtually unlimited control over the MCU with both movies and TV, his new Disney boss could and would overrule him at will.
It's an who knows what Feige, what like the MCU Phase 4 onwards would have been if Feige was just allowed to do what he wants. I mean, I think we were both bet quite confidently it would be really good.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Just on the Phase 3 sort of track record.
I would say it would look a lot like what Phase 4 does, just less of it.
Yeah, higher quality and fewer releases.
Yes. Yeah, I would say so. Certainly fewer releases.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe more time given to getting the effects right and everything, as opposed to just doing it as quickly as possible and for as cheaply as possible.
And maybe he could have survived the pandemic. Maybe he could have survived Disney. You know what? I think it's Disney Plus. That's the problem.
Yeah, I think it really is.
Yeah, because he's also got increased responsibility because he's not just overseeing studios now. It's comics. It's all of it.
It's the whole kit and caboodle.
It's a tale as old as time. I've just started reading the Pixar book, Creative Inc.
Oh yeah,
and it's
great book.
Yeah, I've never read it before, but Ed Catmull very early on lays out why do creative industries always have a very similar origin story. We work really hard and we get there and are successful, and always the same demise.
Yeah,
we took too much stuff on. We grew too. It's like. But it's there. It's there.
The blueprint's there.
And when you take too much stuff on, you can't be as creative. I mean, to peel back the curtain, that's sort of what happened to our business over the last couple of years. Took too much stuff on. We've consciously tried to go the other way, create more time for creation, because it's very hard to just go, the algorithm decides this is when you are creative. And then you get stuff like Monopoly, but serious.
Yeah.
Which was, just a stupid idea we came up with that we wouldn't have come up with if we weren't on a deadline, or other projects that you're working on, for instance.
Or we might have said, maybe we shouldn't do that because the last time we did a Monopoly butt video, it didn't perform as well as the other ones had done. So maybe that's had its time in the sun.
Yeah.
But because we are now deciding not to just make things because of what analytics and the algorithm have told us, we can do, and it's like, hey, that actually really works.
Yeah,
it was fun to make.
And weirdly, the algorithms massively favoured it. It's simple. It's simple advice. Don't spread yourself too thin. Mm-hmm. Focus on quality. Simple. So difficult. Because it's the trap, and that's what happened to Feige.
Yeah. Guess who Chapek got close to during all of this period of time?
Oh, don't you? Is it Ovitz?
Not Ovitz.
Okay, is it Katzenberg?
No.
Oh, is it someone who comes up a lot?
Someone who comes up a lot.
Is it Perlmutter?
It's Ike Perlmutter. Because Ike Perlmutter also hated Bob Iger. Bob Iger forced Ike Perlmutter out of his position.
Perlmutter's still a major shareholder in Disney.
He is one of the biggest shareholders in Disney, in fact.
This is grumpy old men getting together. Yeah, I don't like him either.
I don't like him either.
Oh.
Let's work together to make it bad for him and make it better for us.
That is so many evenings over a couple of pints just moaning.
This is kind of like sort of a summation of this, but the board were at odds with Chapek since it began cozying up with Ike Perlmutter. Perlmutter saw an isolated Chapek and began aiding him, and was also trying to get him on board with putting Nelson Pelt, his close friend, onto the Disney board. It's obvious Perlmutter saw in Chapek a common enemy and a shared incentive. Perlmutter and Pelt are staunch Republicans who hated Disney's progressive stance, and Chapek himself thought the company had been veering too far to the left. The Disney board apparently all hated Perlmutter because of the tension between him and Kevin Feige, stemming all the way back to 2015, which we covered in our Age of Ultron episode. The board worried without upsetting Feige, who's in the midst of Marvel raking in billions, would be rankled. They sided with Feige and told Chapek to stop meeting with Pelt. When he continued to do so, that eradicated trust even further and paved the way for his ousting.
Oh my God, it's like Perlmutter in 2015. You think he's been defeated, but actually he's just biding his time.
It's Dreykov in this movie. He's like, I killed him. I saw a building fall on top of him. And then Yelena comes up being like, did you see the body? Did you see it?
You should have gone for the head.
So, I mean, I was actually very impressed to see the box office for this movie, 379 million worldwide.
And on top of the 60 million
that's
on streaming.
Just box office receipts. Bearing in mind, The Marvels, which does not come out during the pandemic, does 206 million worldwide. It's not even like it was a little bit more. It was quite a bit more.
Well, I think that proves to... and, you know, if it was released a few months later, if it wasn't also available on Disney+, well, just chuck that on top. So let's just say easily 500,000. I think you'd expect it to do more in the glory days, but that to me says the appetite for the MCU is still really, really there at this point.
Yeah.
Because this is the first movie, let's put Spider-Man Far From Home to one side, this is the first Marvel movie, MCU Studios movie, since Endgame.
Yeah, I
and
agree.
Even though it's of a dead character, a literally dead character, which I do, you know, I'll get into the play-by-play of why that really saps everything of tension and stakes.
It does a little bit, doesn't it? Yeah.
It's like, oh, so I know she survives this and that she also dies? Oh, yeah. I'll really get invested in her falling off a building. Like, but it's still... I mean, that's got to be one of the highest grossing movies of the year, right?
I would have thought
2021.
so, yeah.
Shall I have a look?
Yeah, have a quick look. So that is the making of this movie. It's sort of like very much known for the PR war between Marvel, Disney, and Scarlett Johansson, and it's got a bit of a black mark in a way on sort of like their time and tenure together. For me,
bit of red on the ledger, you might say.
For me, watching it, I feel so bad for Scarlett Johansson because this is a movie that she's wanted to make for 12 years. This is a movie that fans have been waiting 12 years for. And it's a movie that comes out during the pandemic. It's really just done to bolster Disney Plus streaming numbers. So that affects everything. And because the character is dead and it didn't come out at a time when she was alive, it just means that the film is kind of more of just a way to push the new characters. In the way that the Hawkeye series is just done to get over Kate as the new Hawkeye. In the way that the Laurie Blake, you know, of this parish, had it best when he said Falcon and the Winter Soldier is an origin story for a suit design. Like that is a lot of these films you are just serving a greater purpose, and it's not to advance your character forward, it's to advance something else forward for the MCU because you're not going to be a part of this anymore.
Yeah, which is, you know, what they should be doing, but maybe not at the expense of better stories.
But it just sucks for then this to be Black Widow's swan song is a movie that I think most people sort of A, forgot happened, and B, when you talk about it, tend to talk about the stuff that we've just covered there, which is the black eye of PR disasters.
So I've got the highest grossing movies globally of 20... Is it globally? Yeah, worldwide. Of 2021. Black Widow comes in at 13th. Just beneath it is Free Guy and A Quiet Place Part 2, and Encanto beneath that, and Cruella. Wow.
All Disney.
But that sort of gives you a flavour of the time. Of course, I think it really depends what month it's released in 2021. Of course, stuff later in the year is going to do better.
Yeah, because August is when that's when we came back to the office, and that's where SummerSlam 2021 is.
And that's where the big hitters, I think November onwards, you've got Spider-Man No Way Home is December.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
$1.9 billion worldwide.
Absolutely, yeah.
Double the next one, which is a Chinese movie, I believe. The Battle at Lake Changlin, that's 900 million. No Time to Die, James Bond, 775 million.
I forgot that film happened.
F9, 726 million. A lot of Chinese films on here. Venom, Let There Be Carnage is the 7th highest grossing film, 500 million.
Well, doesn't that show again if you'd just waited a couple of months?
Yeah.
But there was just this desperate thing, got to get some Disney Plus. Because, Ollie, the subscriber numbers, they are now flat.
So
We've reached our 5-year goal in 9 months. Now what do we do?
So interestingly, Shang-Chi came out in September. Shang-Chi, brand new character. Shang-Chi does 430 million worldwide.
Yeah.
Which is sort of what Black Widow did in the box office and Disney Plus combined. So I think it's pretty safe to estimate Black Widow would have made over 500,000.
I think so.
At least $500 million, yeah. Which puts it in quite comfortably in the top 10.
Yeah.
Eternals, funnily enough,
That's right in 2021.
is one above Black Widow. It's the 12th highest performing movie. That made $400 million.
That's Angelina Jolie for you.
When did Eternals come out? Eternals came out in November.
Crikey, so you got 3
2 months after Shang-Chi.
So yeah, if you'd have just bumped each one of those release dates, so you put
Black Widow in September.
In September, and then you do Shang-Chi in November.
Yeah.
It's a real shame. A real shame. But anyway,
even then, it's still not a great movie, but it would have probably made more money.
I'd agree.
If you delayed it a bit.
So there you go. There's the history of how we got here. I've kind of given my thoughts on what a bit of a bummer it is for Scarlett Johansson. That's kind of my big takeaway from this, is that I enjoyed it way more on my second watch of it, 5 years removed from when I first saw it. But also I feel bad for Scarlett Johansson, and I actually just want to see more of her and Yelena. And actually now I just want to see Yelena and everything, because I think she's the best thing.
Yeah.
Well, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, same. I think this is really great for Yelena and Red Guardian. The movie itself is generic, pedestrian, no stakes, like really phoned in, and not treating. I don't think it ever gets any deeper to Black Widow's character for the whole film, which is mad.
That's actually very true. Yeah.
Which I think Civil War, Infinity War, all the Russo Black Widow movies and the Feely and Marcus scripted ones, they do. But Yelena is really the shining star, and the Red Guardian. The overall story, I think, is a bit nothing. The gas.
Yeah, a lot of MacGuffins within there.
You're coming off Civil War, right? And Winter Soldier, which has a really fun Soviet analog style of you have activation code words, Winter Soldier. You know, that's interesting stuff, isn't it? And then here it's a red gas and pheromones. Like, what?
And all you got to do is just headbutt the table, and that stops the pheromones.
I don't care. It's really dramatic to just have someone walk around and go, race car, bridge. Like, oh my God. Oh God.
While, like he's there, like gripping the table, like,
stop it. It's so visually and dramatically tense. And here it's just like, puff.
And
there's a puff of red cloud.
Better get out of here.
Yeah.
And they'll just pilot a plane down to the floor.
So I think it's actually, it's a 3-star movie, but disappointment-wise, from what it should have been, if you did this with all the things I said, I believe this could be in 4.5 star territory.
I gave this 3.5 stars on Letterboxd. And I actually came out, I was like, I probably would have given this 4 stars, but I do think the final action scene is really quite boring. All the stuff when actually it's just like Johansson and Rachel Weisz revealing, through the flashback things of like, they had this plan all along. I like all of that stuff. But once she jumps out the window, I just lost interest. And it's basically all of the stuff the director made, I think is quite good. All the stuff that the AI machine just spat out for an action scene, I think is boring.
Yeah. Well, if you go over to patreon.com/cutscene now, we will be going scene by scene, play by play through the entire movie. And as Patreons will know, I have compiled cutscene bingo.
Hello.
I thought about making them bingo cards. It's too complicated, so this is now more of a cutscene checklist. And we got everyone to suggest tropes of all the bad movies we've watched so far, and we can tick them off when they appear in Black Widow.
Can we call it Check-Off's List?
Yes, we can. Just let me make that. Check-Off's List. So just to run through a few.
Oh, please, yes.
Thank you so much, everybody, for sending in yours, because we asked for your suggestions, and they're so funny.
I decided, because you told me a lot of these were good, and I read a couple of them, and then I decided not to read any more, to wait till this moment here so I could give you my reactions in real time.
Yeah, so thank you, everyone who sent these in. Sunglasses emphasis.
Love it.
The hero walk, so that's slow-mo or maybe to music.
There's one of those in this.
One surprisingly good, well-acted character. Like Dennis Hopper in
Mario.
In Mario. You're like, he's
going for it.
He's going for it, man.
Yeah.
Reshoot wigs.
Yes.
Obvious advertisement. Slow-mo death. Giant vortex in the sky.
Yes.
Nerd falling on woman's boobs. It's happened in 2 films.
It's amazing it's happened twice.
Well, they're both Whedons. Undermining comedy lines.
Yes! Oh, that's such a good one.
Well, that just happened.
Yep.
Day for night. Whoever suggested that one, I really like. I love the specification.
So great.
Body doubles in reshoots. Music that's too literal for the scene. Obviously period music.
Yep.
We get it in Black Widow.
Yeah.
When they just play Sear on the radio. Oh yeah, it's 2016. Thank you. Casting Jared Leto.
Oh no.
It's its own part of the Chekhov list. CGI versus CGI third act. Specifically the line, why didn't you do that in the first place?
Because again, I think that's like 2 films that's happening recently.
But again, it's Whedon, I think.
It was Whedon. No,
it was in Ultron.
It's in Iron Man 2.
And it's in Iron Man 2.
They're both Marvel.
A scene or line just for the trailer.
Yes, so good. There's one in here when she goes, "What's your story?"
Yeah. Anytime someone mentions the Convergence, now that's going to be very specific.
That's only in 1 film, surely.
To Thor, but I liked it so much. Scene intended to set up sequel that will never come.
Yes, love that.
Forced romantic subplot which actors don't care about.
Nice.
Movie doesn't have enough extras. So it just makes the scene look weirdly sparse. Computers that can enhance any footage. That's kind of a trope of we got loads of great suggestions. I didn't include any that were about the production process because that, a director being replaced, like how would you don't really get that in watching the film.
No, otherwise we just have Avi Arad is one of them. Avi Arad mentioned.
And the other one was just ones that are more applicable to just movie tropes in general. Outdated reference, preferably of a now cancelled or controversial figure. Wrestling crossovers, of course. Bad accent.
Uh-oh.
Faceless Chitauri Army. ADR.
Faceless Chitauri Army.
ADR. Actors not on set at the same time. And characters teasing saying the title of the movie, then not saying it. And then characters teasing saying the title of the movie and then saying it.
Beautiful. I love that.
We're going to go through the Chekhov list.
Oh, I love actors not on set at the same time. That's a great one.
There's some, right, where one scene, like Fantastic Four, some scenes in that could tick off like 8 of these.
Yeah. In
the same scene. It's a reshoot. It's got wigs. They're not there at the same time. It's bad green screen.
There's ADR.
There's ADR. It's forced exposition.
There's a blue thing in the sky.
There's not enough extras. Day for night.
Well, we'll be going through Chekhov's list as we do the play-by-play of Black Widow over at patreon.com/cutscene. Link for that's in the video description down below. Thank you so much for joining us. Next month on this, we're not going to do Shang-Chi.
It's great
because it's awesome. I'm really looking forward to rewatching it.
Yeah. I will rewatch that.
Yeah.
But yeah, The Abomination is in it, of course, which you alluded to earlier.
But we are going to do as our next movie, which has been bumped from its release date because it was supposed to be this month here, The Eternals. I've not seen it for 5 years. I remember just couldn't believe they kept adding more characters. Got to go get this one now. I was like, what, there's more of you? I'm not looking forward to its rewatch.
No. I tell you why even more. Because I was just going through the films there, Shang-Chi, to find out when they were released. And I not only saw the release date for The Eternals, November 2021, I saw its runtime.
Oh, it's long, isn't it?
2 hours, 37 minutes.
Oh, didn't realize it was that long. I knew it was long. Oh, man, that's long. That should have been another one on Chekhov's list as well. Post-credit sequence that introduced a character you'll never see again.
Well, I think setting up a sequel that you'll never... It's in that one.
It's in that one, because we get one of those in Eternals. We get one of them in Thor Love and Thunder as well, which we've got coming up. But that'll be next month here over on YouTube and here on Spotify as well. Thank you so much for joining us today. See you next month, everyone.
Age of Ultron. Ooh, let him evolve. Age of Ultron, yeah. Let the Ultron in. Oh, that was perfect, I think.
So I thought, what were you actually going for?
So